Yeah.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, kids of all ages, this is Reese. This is a Thursday. It's a special edition of the Mattriarchy, which is my regular talk show. We're having a Dan-athon in support of our good friend Dan Connor, who's down in the corner. I'm going to see if I can give him the full screen. Hey, there we go. And Dan is Dan's been going through some stuff. And while we kick off, everybody, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves, and then we'll let Dan do a little storytelling, and I'll get the link shared around while he's doing that. But first, Doug, what's up, man?
Hi, how you doing? I'm Doug Tenaple. I'm the creator of Earthworm Jim and The Neverhood and Cat Scratch and over 20 graphic novels, and I've known Dan for, at least 12 years or so. And I'm just here to support him and remind everyone, let's give to his GoFundMe and let's hang with a good guy. I love hanging with these other guests too and meeting new people.
We'll just go around the circle, and I'm not sure who's next. I'm sorry, I jumped to a different screen, and now I'm just not paying attention.
I'm Ken of KS Productions, Dan's agent, so to speak, and good friend, chauffeur when the times needs be. But I just book him at shows, and sometimes I'm at the shows with him. Our biggest one, obviously, that we went together with was New York Comic Con, and then there in Las Vegas. That was a fun convention as well.
Very cool.
Okay, I'm next. Oh no, never mind. You should go next.
Thank you. Yeah, we have to save the best for last. That's how this goes. So I'm Patricia. I'm Patricia Krumpetich. If Dan was Batman, I would be Robin. We just we're a duo. We've worked on comics together for since 2016, and worked on the My Gal the Zombie show since 2015. So basically, whenever Dan has a comics project and he has a little tiny bone to throw, he throws it to me, and I very gladly pick it up. Our latest project was I did the flat colors and Dan did the colors for the Nightmare Before Christmas Zero's Journey comic. So Dan is one of my best friends. He's a brother to me, and I'm so eternally grateful that he's here with us today and that he's okay. So, and I made him that hat, and I hope it's nice and warm for you.
My name is Ben Dunn. I'm the publisher of Antarctic Press, creator of the Ninja High School and Warrior Known. And Dan has always been a great talent. It's been always a pleasure to work with him on any project, and I just want him to get better. That's all that matters.
Thanks, Ben. So I'm Dan Connor. Pretty much, I've known a number of these folks here for a number of years. Pretty cool that some of my earliest work with the Ninja High School annuals of Ben's book. That was some of the earliest stuff I ever put out. I was able to get published. Yeah, and in fact, they're currently in Ben's current Kickstarter, so you can check that one out. Still a few more days on that. And of course, I've got to do a number of projects with Ben over the years. I was actually able to intern at Antarctic Press right out of high school. So that was 17 years ago. So
wow.
17. Again, I've been working
I remember.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's good memory. And then, I've been working with Patricia on a ton of stuff. Then, of course, I'm there with Kenneth when there existed all the local conventions around Denver. But we've been able to go around the country doing a lot of shows. Of course, known Doug 12 years at least. Always glad to see him. Big fan of his work. Big fan of what he has to say. And Matt, we hooked up at Fort Collins Comic Con a few years ago.
Yeah, the
Something
first time I ran into you, you were tabled across from me at Cheyenne. The first year we had a table,
Oh,
I was it was the first time I'd been at a con, first time I'd done anything like that. I didn't really
Oh,
get to
wow.
know a whole lot of people, but I grabbed your book and I took it
Yeah.
home and I read it, and it was one of the My Gal Zombies, actually one of the ones Patricia wrote, the one with the superhero costume.
Oh, that one's great.
Oh, it is so great, and I was just fixated. And it took me a little while to actually read it because I had so much stuff from that convention. But when I sat down and read it, I went through and read everything. I became Connor obsessed. I just had to see everything there was, and some of the, My Gal archives were on there and or up still online, and the Heaven Forbid, and I just absorbed like all of it.
No, I know you did. I know you did. Very cool.
Give me just a second. My computer tells you it needs juice, so I gotta dip out and take care of that.
You got to plug it in.
I did. I didn't. I forgot to do that earlier. So
Nice prep work.
Plug it in. Yeah, he's gone.
His computer's almost gone. Dan, are you wearing that hat out of mercy to Patricia, or is it like freezing in there? 'Cause you look like a snowman.
Oh no, it's very cold. I'm wearing this big old hoodie. It's like fleece. It is very cold. But
So
I
it came
did
in
make
handy.
sure to wear it because she was on. And then no one's
He
seeing
lost all that body fat.
I know, and half the body hair. No, they trimmed my arms.
His back is bald for the first time.
I haven't. Yeah, no, it would be. But no, I had them shave my arms down because they were always
There's
taping
enough
and
razors for that?
bandaging and stuff. What's that?
There's enough razors for that?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't fast. No, they shaved down my arms. Never happened before. But yeah. Well, here, I mean, I don't. It's not a big deal, but so I've got like 1/4 inch hair because they shaved my head and my beard the same day, and so my head's got 1/4 inch hair, and then my beard is full again.
You're styling and profiling, Dan.
I am.
Good look.
I am. But what was it, Patricia, that you had? What was it, 35 or something bucks? That people wanted one of your homemade beans or something?
Yeah, well, the yarn I use is actually all alpaca, so it's pretty expensive yarn, but it's super soft, which is why I picked it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
and that is just like the perfect turtle green, in my opinion. Because if anybody knows Dan Connor, it's that he is obsessed with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
It looks like the purple headband bandana, the eye mask is right across the top there.
That's it. That's the idea. That's the idea.
Yeah.
And so, Dan, of course, you ended up in the
Just a moment.
hospital in
I'm
some
actually live
unexpected.
with some friends online right now, so if that's okay. But Zach, great to see you. I hope you don't mind your name. And Ruben, amazing to see you. All right, or to see. Thank you, Day, for the day. It's been great. You guys are great. Yeah, we'll see you soon. See, this is legit. I can't fake that. This is.
It was a
really
doctor.
at the hospital.
I didn't go to 7 years of med school to be blown off by Matt Reese's stream.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. No, all the nurses, they wind up on my live streams. I'll just be like, hey, I hope it's cool. They just hear your voice. So.
Maybe one of them could be Zombie Girl.
What's that?
My gal is a zombie.
Yeah, no, we could have a green and red one, lighter green. That'd be perfect.
We could. It'd be
Christmas
super fun.
colors.
They're really fun to make. So
Well, and
there's
Ben
something
did
like
the
really
cover for.
therapeutic.
Or what's that, Patricia?
There's something like really therapeutic about just making something with your hands that you can then use later on, and just like the repetitive motion of spinning the yarn is, it's so nice.
Well, I got something for Dan when he gets out.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
That's
Oh,
so
that's
cool.
A Ninja Turtles yarmulke.
It's
Is that also
it's
$35?
mandatory. It's not $35. It's not alpaca. But I'm gonna have to get one.
It's not alpaca.
And Donatello is also my favorite.
Oh, we'll have to fight over it then.
Yeah. Donnie is great, but it's all about Mikey for me.
Yeah.
Well, he's the one that survived, right? Spoiler.
I don't know. We'll see.
You read it.
I did, but I still don't know from the punctuation in Last Ronin. So, cool.
Well, we've got some people coming into the chat from all over, and
Okay.
guys, I'm going to give the floor for a little bit of show and tell. Dan, of course, he wound up in the hospital, and I know you've told the story a lot, and you've been live streaming from the hospital, the Daily Dan Show, which is a hoot to watch. Although I gotta be completely honest, you make so much content, it's impossible to keep up with.
Well, not as much as Doug, and they've been shorter lately, but there have been the long ones.
I'm diarrhea content. It's all marketing. So we're marketing you and your hospital story. Are you at St. Luke's?
Still at St. Luke's. I'm now on the rehab floor. They're saying that I'm gonna get out of here on the 21st. So that's good news. That's really good news. I'll be home by Christmas. I keep singing that, if only in my dreams, but I think it's gonna be so yeah. So good stuff.
Cool.
Yeah. So am I to share that story now?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay.
Go for it.
So I was feeling pretty run down at the end of September. I've been working a lot, been doing all sorts of stuff. And so I thought maybe I had COVID. So I was able to get to an emergency room, a different one than St. Luke's, and they did my COVID test. And then they said, yeah, we want to do a couple other tests as well. They were just kind of analyzing.
Oh, sorry about that. I just got cut off for some reason.
Hey, no worries. Maybe they didn't want you to hear the beginning of the story. I'm joking.
God dang it.
I know. Okay. So no. So anyway, I end of September, I was feeling rough, really just worn out, like intensely. So I actually did a telehealth appointment on October 3rd, and that's when I could get in for one. And they said to go to the emergency room like then. So I did, and they did a COVID test, and then they did after that they did some other tests. They said, we want to see what's going on. And they came back and they said, well, you don't have COVID. We're still looking at the other tests. So they might have said it all at once. And then when they came back, they're like, yeah, it looks like you have blood cancer. And they didn't give me any warning. They were just like,
that's awful.
Yep.
Oh, man.
We're like, here you go. Open your mouth. Use a spoon.
I don't just want to interrupt the story, but it's like, you're like, man, I'm really tired. I think I might have a respiratory infection. Oh, no, that's just the blood cancer.
Yeah. Exactly.
The good news is you don't have COVID. He's like, oh, yeah. You have blood cancer.
Yeah.
I dodged a bullet.
Thus far, no COVID. Thus far. And being in the hospital these days,
at least you don't have COVID. You only have blood cancer.
A lot of people are dying of COVID, though. So,
that's true.
So anyway, I looked it up and I was like, okay, leukemia is the most common. I was like, I heard of leukemia before. So I just kind of sat there, called my folks. Patricia, that's probably around when I called you. And then they came back and they said, yeah, it's, you got leukemia. And that was when they finally got me out of one of the emergency room, like side room, like little actual rooms. And they got me to another one. And then they said they'd get me to the bone marrow ward unit ICU at Presbyterian St. Luke's, which is in Denver. So it wasn't far. But it's the best, most comprehensive in the region, in the Denver region. So I was glad for that opportunity. People are all set up with like computers and stuff. I'm just holding my phone. So that's why I'm walking around. And so then the next day, Kenneth, did I get in touch with you beforehand? I don't remember.
Yeah, you got in touch with me that day because you wanted me to go to your house and get your chargers and stuff.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I reached out to just a few people. Reached out to my folks, of course, and they didn't know what to think. They were at the store. I was like, well, we'll call you later or something, like I forget what it was. But they're like, well, we'll just go step outside. And so so I told them, and then the next day I was like, I was delirious. I don't remember that day. And so they put me in a coma, like either that day or because it was a Saturday I got to the hospital. So they put me in the coma either Sunday or Monday. And
It was Monday.
Yeah, was it Monday?
Yeah.
You probably know better than me because I know I reached out to a couple people like in the morning, and I've since seen those messages, and I'm like, I have no idea. Like,
Yeah, you
no
told me not to go
memory of
get
that.
your stuff. I was like, that's weird. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't. Yeah, I've read it. We probably read that message, and I was like, oh, I don't remember that. So I was put in a coma. I had multiple organ failure, like my kidney, issues with my brain, various organs. I had pneumonia as well as the leukemia. So it could have even been like the pneumonia that really brought me into the hospital. I don't know. I had all that going on, and the coma for 3 weeks. Then my folks started calling the hospital. They started calling everybody they knew, and my mom is actually she is a huge prayer warrior, impossibly so. And I got cards from all around the country, a couple people from outside the country. Yeah, it was just a lot of love and support. Then then I wasn't responding. Even once they weren't keeping me sedated anymore, here I'm hopping back in my wheelchair. When they weren't keeping me sedated anymore, I didn't wake up. I was still in the coma. And so they kept trying to get me out of it. And they called my folks, the ICU staff, like well and beyond the support that they had folks. I mean, I'm an adult. And I had said before, I was like, yes, trust my parents, notify them of anything. And they really did. And so they told them, this would have been weeks in, they said, well, if you want to see him alive, you need to come out because they live in Florida. And so they scheduled their tickets. And shortly before they came out, like I woke up, I was still like really delirious. They would tell me like, oh, your parents are coming. And I didn't even know I was there. I didn't know who was talking to me. I had all these crazy dreams about eating at 99-cent fresh pizza in New York City. All this crazy stuff, being up in Nebraska, actually, Matt. So I was all over the place. And so
that was half of a good dream, the pizza part.
Yeah, most of my dreams were about. I dreamed I was going around the
was
country.
a living hell.
No, it would have been good. I thought I was opening up pizza places all over, riding on a tree.
You know, Doug, I'm from Nebraska.
Of course.
Yeah, no, I was going through Nebraska. I went through Shadron and all, and then I was just going through. I don't know if I hit up Scotts Bluff. I can't say for sure.
Okay, so hold on. You're stepping on the lead. You're
yeah.
How do people get to your GoFundMe? Shut up. How do they go to your GoFundMe? Shut up, Dan.
Is the link
actually
below?
in the chat.
Okay,
it's all over. Yeah, it's in the chat.
Matt could have said that. Matt could have said it's all over the chat. Click the link, throw a little dough, spread the link around to your friends. That doesn't cost you anything. There.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Share.
send it to the comic book news site so that they can write less than positive things about me, and then share it as well.
Well, welcome to the club.
I know I would be in.
It's
But
okay,
no, hopefully
Dan.
they would be.
If
Oh,
they
no,
do
I
that, I'll
wouldn't.
fight them.
Yeah.
Oh, I know you would. I know you would.
Patricia is somebody I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of, for the record.
No.
Just gonna say that.
Yeah, that's.
I'm right there with
actually
you,
no,
Patricia.
that's
I'll cut
good.
someone.
Yeah. Ken and I
You
got
would,
you
you
taken care of.
No, I know y'all do.
I'll post Dan Connor, the creator of Spawn, and they go, he's not the creator of Spawn. I'll go, way to make fun of someone with cancer.
That would actually be really funny. You want to know something true? I was actually somewhat in the running to do coloring spawn, and then the person that I was talking with, she got promoted. So
That's okay.
that was my spawn story. But we tried. Me and tried. We were
Hey, I
working
haven't
hard on
stopped.
that.
I
And
haven't
then I
stopped.
found
I've been talking to Carlos.
really, but
Yeah.
but he doesn't work for. Well, he's not on
Oh, we're
staff
gonna
for McFarland.
go
I know
around.
he knows him well.
Go around.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was my. Then maybe we could say, oh well, it wasn't supposed to be mentioned, and then it didn't happen. But yeah, so soon enough, I woke up enough to understand life, and then my dad got there eventually, and then because they could only let one person at a time, and I was still starting to understand things, and then my mom's traded off. They had the tag team, and she was there. That's when they took out my tracheotomy out of my neck. I've got a dot there that you can't see in the lighting, but might be there forever at the bottom of my neck. And I could talk again. And then I could eat a meal. Because even that time I was awake, I couldn't eat. And then even after that, they wouldn't let me drink anything for the longest time. In this hospital, it's cold and dry. So it was not fun. And eventually I said, hey, Mom, I'm hearing all these stories that I'd been in this coma since early October here at Presbyterian St. Luke's. I was like, but I thought I was in New York. And she was like, no, that. I said, I'm starting to gather that never happened. And she's like, no, that never happened. So, like the whole time my dad was there, which was like 3 days, I still was like thinking, yeah, I was in a coma, or I was in New York and I got back and then I was in a coma. Like, I just didn't make sense of any of that. So, like, I must have been out of the coma for a week before I started to understand that.
We should have been in New York, Dan. We should have been eating that 99-cent fresh pizza.
I know, it's the best pizza in New York City, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, and on the good side, no one else was either. So the whole
New
world
York
got
City
shut
was
down
even-
because they couldn't bear to go on without Dan at the con. So
Huh. Well,
True.
you know, the other thing I heard that for anybody going into New York State, you have to quarantine for whatever amount of time, and if they catch you outside, it's if
It's a
maybe the
$1,000
first-
fine.
Yeah, $1,000 fine. So there's no way they could have done a convention.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
$1,000 fine.
Unless the
then
convention just ran 24 hours a day for 2 weeks.
Well, yeah. No, New York's what, 5 days? I don't know. Doug, have you done New York Comic Con?
You know, I have not. That's one of the ones that I've heard great things about it.
It is a good show.
I'm just a San Diego only guy now. I'm too old. I'm too tired.
Yeah.
I do San Diego to see all my friends, and then outside of that, because we did Colorado, we did Denver.
Yeah. We were just around the corner from you.
Yeah, and I don't know. I did Nashville here in Tennessee, and I just kind of went, I'm used to getting like dog piled in San Diego. The dog pile is what I kind of. And I was there from the beginning, all the way, or not from the beginning, back to 89 or so. I went
from 1972.
No, not that, 1989. But I really liked kind of it was so convenient because you bring in a pile of books to San Diego and you're going to move some books. And if you want to go and get any toy you want, you can get all the toys you want and stuff. Some of those cons, man, you go to them and some of them can be pretty thin. It's kind of like, they're not here to buy books. They're here to look or whatever. And San Diego's where the mob and Emerald City I liked a lot. And I did Calgary one year. It was one of my best cons I ever did was in Calgary.
I've heard about that. I've heard that any Canadian con's good, but also that's, what I observe is that Canada supports the arts. So they're just like.
That's a lot of it. Darkside Evie is watching the show, by the way. She puts on a con, the Kitchener con. But Calgary was big because they have mineral rights there. So all of the families are like millionaires. So they sent all their kids to the con and they're just buying original art and books. It was crazy.
Well, we had Dan booked for his first and second Canadian conventions that ended up getting canceled.
Well,
He didn't even have his passport until we booked these cons.
I have it now. Useless passport. That's right. We did have Calgary. Yeah,
We did
I
have
would have
Calgary.
to learn how to.
To balance the table edge. You know, you can just slide the passport right under that wobbly table in the corner, and you're fine.
Who knows what? I would have had to figure out Canadian currency. I would have been eating at Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
I don't know what else.
You have to learn how to speak Canadian, which is just like us, but remove all the Twitter rudeness.
Yeah. No, there's truth to that.
They have their own kind of rudeness. It's more like a Minnesotan passive-aggressive rudeness.
Good. Yeah.
Could be.
They shut
And
down.
then cartoonists, they get like legit grants. Like if you ever look at a Canadian cartoonist book, it'll say this graphic novel made in part by a grant from the Canadian Department of the Arts, like always. So they
Well,
just
their animation board, you know, turned that whole country around. It's why the best animators in the world are up in Canada right now. The biggest industries up there. And that's because of their mineral rights. Again, they got so much oil money that they didn't want to just spend it on a country of miners. They said, we're going to develop the arts with this money. And that Canadian Film Board blew up. The animation there is amazing.
And Netflix of that because my daughter watches several animations from this is the Canada Cartoon Network basically, and they're really good. They're actually really good, and they've been blowing up here in the U.S. ever since Netflix bought them. And it's just we need to get Dan and Trisha's My Gal the Zombie Girl on some annual cartoonage.
That would be awesome.
I would love to see like the My Gal holiday specials, right?
Well, everything but Halloween. Since she's a zombie, it's everything but Halloween.
Everything but Halloween.
Yeah.
The Resurrection Easter special.
I don't think we ever have done Easter, but we've got the horror host episodes. Those are available. Some of them on YouTube, some of them on public access or cable access in Denver. So. And
Patricia, do you do animation?
I don't do animation yet. I can color really well. I'm kind of the writer. I'm not the artist, so to speak.
Fair enough.
But you've at least co-produced some music videos, because I saw those credits, as well as the horror host My Gal stuff. Plug that. What was that new music video I watched this week?
So my boyfriend Joseph is in a band called Taking Alpha, and he actually writes all of the music for it. But we did a music video for one of his songs, Omega, and I did most of the camera work for it, and then he did like some of the camera work where he wasn't necessarily needed to be in the shot, and then he did all of the editing, and it turned out just so awesome. So if everyone wants to check that out, it'd be great.
The camera work was really good, actually. So
thank you. All Joseph's direction. So he's really great at directing me what to do.
He always bosses you around.
Yeah,
perfect relationship.
And then I boss him around, and it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ticket. I think is the mutual bossing. Then everybody gets something out of it.
I'm looking at the Taking Alpha Omega official video right now.
Ooh.
Yay!
It's good.
It actually multitasking.
They make a number of music videos. I was actually really, really impressed with this one. It was good.
We worked really hard on it, and it was not easy with the location rental and everything. There was some heartache going into it, so I don't want to get like.
That's a really good band, by the way. I can tell.
Thank you.
Are you hearing it? Yeah,
I can hear it. They're good.
Yeah, Omega is one of my favorite songs.
What? No, that one is really good. Yeah.
Yeah, our the new drummer, her name is Mirna.
Chick drummer.
Yeah, she's from Iraq, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, and then she came over here for college, I believe, got her master's and everything, got married, so she's staying over here. But she grew up there, and just hearing her talk about everything is so fascinating because her like perspective on things is so different from ours.
Sounds crazy.
True.
And she's
Yeah,
in a metal
and
band
so-
now. That's how you do it, man.
Yeah.
So
That's how you do it.
when did she come over? That's curious to me.
I don't know the exact year. You should do a show with Taking Alpha, but
I would love Joe's hilarious to talk to, and I haven't spoken with him in 2 years. So that would be
cool.
that would be fun. Oh yeah. I'll let you finish. I got a story, but
there's not much to finish. I've spoken with her a few times. She's an incredible woman. So, yeah.
Yeah. So my story is how I met Joe. I was at Fort Collins convention, and I was finishing up my business in the bathroom, and this dude like says to me, "Hey," and I was like, I hate being approached by anyone in the restroom. It's just a thing. And he says, "Hey, that's a cool shirt." I was wearing a Star Wars shirt, and I'm like, "Dude," but I didn't want to be rude, so I said, "Thank you." And we ended up starting to talk about Star Wars movies on our way out of the can there. And then he's like, I was like, "So you're here at a convention. Are you a fan? You're a creator?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm a musician, but my girlfriend, she writes some comics." And I said, "Oh, that's really cool. What kind of books does she do?" She does this comedy horror thing. I don't know." And she was like, that's really cool. We got talking about it for a little bit. And then I realized he's describing you.
Yep.
Wait, you're dating Patricia? I know her.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Small world.
Well, it is a small
Fort
center,
Collins.
so that was hilarious and funny. But yeah, he would be a fun guest. That's true. So look into that. But
he's a lot better at
Gene-
speaking than I am at these sort of things. I get nervous and tongue-tied a lot, so I apologize.
You're good on panels. You're really good on panels.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I met Gene Colan in the bathroom in San Diego Comic-Con because whenever you see old guys are walking around, check their badge because they're probably a legendary artist. And I got him. I waited till he was done washing his hands, and then I handed him a paper towel, and I said, "Thank you for your work in comics," and let him go on his way.
Who was it? Gene
Colan.
Colan?
Gene Gnecolan. He did a lot of.
You don't say you met Gene Colan in a bathroom.
That's good. But he did a lot of Tomb of Dracula, a lot of highly rendered, detailed stuff. But yeah, no, that's probably not the best.
I don't know.
No, it's true. It's true. But you got to see an older guy. If they're at San Diego, they're a classic artist.
Yeah.
Most likely.
So Dan, in addition to doing art for comics and all that other kind of stuff that you've done, you've also had some hand in the My Gal TV show. But one of the other things that I think is really cool, I think it's still up on your YouTube channel. You did a documentary about Alan Bellman.
I did. It was like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's amazing. And of all of the links I grabbed to drop into the chat, his YouTube channel was not one of them.
That's because I don't use that one very much. No, that might be on the Mike Alva Zombie YouTube. I don't know.
I think it is on the Mike Alva.
Is it? Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I met Alan Bellman at Denver Comic Con the first year. Oh, Denver Comic Con's not going on this year, or Denver Pop Culture Con, as it is known. So that's already canceled. So We're seeing else cancels for 2021. So anyway, I had gotten an issue of Boy Meets Girl from 1950, number 5, at a used bookstore years back. And I was looking up, I wanted to do, and I never did finish it, I wanted to do a collection of different stories from that series. They're old romance comics, and I love them from 1950. And so I was researching every artist to see if any of them were still with us or doing anything. And I found that Alan Bellman was. So I saw him set up at Denver, and I walked by, and at that time he didn't even have a crowd at his table because nobody knew who he was. He had a sign saying that, a banner saying that he was there at early Timely Marvel, and he probably had a picture of him with Stan Lee or something, maybe one from back then. And I said, it's a pleasure to meet you. And he's like, yeah, check out my prints. Look what I got here. And I said, yeah, and I looked at, I don't know if I bought something that day or not, but I said, yeah, no, it's a pleasure to meet you. I said, I know exactly who you are. I said, I've got this romance comic from Lev Gleason was the publisher. And he was like, I haven't heard that name in 40 years. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to bring it by. He's like, yeah, I want to see it. So I did, like, the next day, and he signed it for me. And then he was like, he just like almost, he might've cried. He's like, I haven't seen this work in 40 years. He said he might not have ever even seen it after he turned the art in. And he said it brought back so many memories of it, because after the Comics Code came about and Marvel had to start slicing their staff, and they had so many stories on file, they didn't need a bullpen anymore for a number of years. And so guys like him were just going to other publishers trying to get what they could, and ultimately he became a photographer for newspapers, and then started picking up cons again. And then since then, you could have to wait in line again to talk to him.
His art, I'm looking at his art right now. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah. And very much, that golden age style, very tight, very much when they'd be given a plot, like, here, go draw an 8-page story. He was early Captain America right after Simon and Kirby. He started working for them at like 17. But he's no longer with us as of early this year. But yeah, so I did a pretty detailed interview with him, and I talked with a couple of folks about running it. Didn't get it ran, but yeah, so that was a really cool video that I got to put together for him.
I was able to get the link, and it's in the chat. So if people want to right-click on that link and open it in a new tab, it'll be ready for you when you're done watching us here.
It's got just that, man, what a great classic comic look. Just really straightforward, old school. The inks.
He did. Oh, yeah. Not like people don't do anymore. Very rendered pencils. He's not relying on an inker to come in and fix up the work. But he did a My Gala Zombie illustration, and he also gave me an idea of doing like little cousins of hers, kind of like a Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Yeah. And so I think I drew a 2-pager of that, or more that I cut up into 2 pages.
There's more
of the book.
With the zombie brats. Yeah. That story was super cute. I like that one a lot.
It is. It's great. I think I've got it in here.
I love seeing my book.
Heck yeah, you wrote the majority of that one, so except for stuff already done. And yeah, so that's a lot of the stuff that I've got going on, surviving. I got in the rehab ward here, the like physical rehab, and so I've been working at that, learning to walk, because when I was in the coma, apparently your muscle strength just goes away like right away, because your body just like eats away your muscles. So like I know how to do things, but I don't have the strength to do it. So I've got my walker over. Yeah, you might be able to see it somewhere around there in the background. And I'm in a wheelchair, so I can kind of toggle between those. But
do they have you walk every day?
Yeah. I go in, I do like laps around the floor, and then they try to stretch my arms that can't stretch anymore. Thankfully, my drawing hand, I have pretty much complete use. I can draw okay, but it takes me longer. So
that's actually one of the things I was going to ask about, because you hear a lot about artists or musicians who end up in accidents or medical things or whatever, and they've got to relearn all those skills.
Yeah.
And I'm curious whether that was the thing
It's not.
for you.
I got some buzzing going on. I wonder if that's over. I don't want that to buzz forever, so I'll call in the nurse.
Uh-oh.
And then I'll turn it on so he doesn't have to be in it. Anyway, we can keep talking.
You
He's
can
probably not
get
going to
him.
respond right away. Oh, it was. Yeah, the IV's buzzing. I don't know if it's done. Maybe it is.
Okay, we'll be right in.
Yeah, if you can help, that'd be great.
This is real life.
So, let me see. So here's something.
So this is the
It's not.
Bellman piece.
No, go
That
ahead.
book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What a
So I'm
stud.
starting the auto bio. So, can I get in the picture?
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be called Journey into Dan's Story, a play off of Journey into Mystery, but also a play off of one of the Heaven Forbid books, which is Journey into Her Story, which is also a play off of Journey into Mystery. And I thought that I would get a lot of people coming after me for titling a book that, and I didn't, so I was kind of disappointed. All right, I'm going to turn around so you don't have to be seen. You're not, you don't.
They're hiring
that
young
is not
nurses
a
these
requirement.
days.
So, I
I was
know.
about to say,
I
who's the
know.
kiddo?
Yeah.
What's that?
We were just wondering who
I
got some visitors, huh?
So no, that's the
That's
doctor.
my really great nurse who is setting or up my IV. So
And she sounds 8 years old.
yeah, go for it. What's going on? I don't know what you guys are
Oh,
saying.
nothing. Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Was it Emma's
I've
work
been-
in there? I don't know if it's in the book or not. Cool.
Here's the colored version of that one. I happen to have the colored version too.
Oh, very cool.
That's Alan
That-
Bellman's piece. And then
Alan Bellman stuff.
yeah.
And that was done in 13?
Yeah, 2013.
All right, and then what about dinner right there? I'll finish.
Oh yeah, if you're able to grab that, that'd be great. Above and beyond the call of duty. So, I mean, you can say hi if you want. I'm just not requiring you to.
Good job.
Is it pizza again, Dan?
No, their pizza here is not amazing. So I only eat it. I only eat
Hospital
it when it's
pizza.
a must-have. It was orange chicken. Their
It's
orange
Anthony's
chicken's pretty
favorite
good.
thing at the hospital.
Yeah, they have fish here sometimes too, but I know it, so I haven't tried it.
Oh, no.
It's not going to be any
You don't wanna do
good.
that.
It's not. I don't want to eat. If it's not quality, I don't want to eat it.
It's like, hooray, hospital sushi.
They might have sushi. So
Hospital sushi in
Hospital
Denver,
sushi
Colorado.
in
That
Denver,
sounds.
Yeah.
That kind of sounds like a little bit weirdly worse than gas station sushi.
Doesn't it though? Doesn't it though? So
yeah.
I have never had sushi, right?
What?
And I haven't. And here's part of why. Because I have spent all of my life in the Great Plains. I mean, I've been to the coast a couple times, but mostly it's just been Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, right? I don't want to eat raw fish that's had to be shipped here.
Oh yeah, I'm in Tennessee. I'm landlocked. It's terrible. It's monstrous. You go to California though.
I have
gonna get
had
some good
ceviche, which is not
I like
sushi, but-
ceviche too.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's so good.
At the Mexican market, I get that. Ooh.
Yeah. And so that's something I have had, and I'm not opposed to the concept of sushi, but I'm not going to have it at home.
No, you don't want Nebraska sushi.
No.
Yeah.
Oklahoma sushi. Ain't doing
Denver sushi is really good, actually. So it's safe
It's-
here. It's one of my favorite foods. It's so good.
It's definitely been my experience to where it's the freshest you can get being landlocked, as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
because I've had it in both California and I've had it in Florida, and it's legit here. Like there's some questionable places to go to, but if you know where to go to, it's really good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm-
theoretically, you could buy the fish over from the coast in a tank. They could still be alive.
That's true.
That'd work.
Yeah.
once again, that would be a thing where like I'm like, okay, if you bring your tuna out and you kill it right on the table, so I know that it's just.
I'd eat that.
I'd eat that.
Get a tuna alive out to you.
Yeah. And then there you are for the whole thing. Okay, sure. I know that it's gruesome, but I'm not going to pretend that's not what goes on in the kitchen anyway. But once again, if I can't guarantee that we're looking at that, then I'm just like, nah. I'll just settle for a hot dog. I'm good.
Try spam sushi. It's real. It's called shram musubi. They put a slice of spam inside the rice and the seaweed. Yeah.
Haven't tried it, but I have seen it. I have not tried it. I do love spam.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Spam gets a bad rap, but it's a lot better than people think.
Good. Cook it.
Yeah.
Well,
The knockoff spam is bad. Sorry,
that's a fun question for you, Dan. Once you get out of the hospital, what is like the first meal like you want to eat? Like the first thing you crave, when you get to the outside?
I don't know. There's no good pizza in Colorado. Not really. Like the local places. Now, actually, Hell's Kitchen Pizza in Colorado Springs area, there's a couple of those. That place is good. I like that place. That's I would say by my standards, that's the best pizza in Colorado. Otherwise, I just get a Little Caesars for pizza.
No.
First thing that I love Little Caesars.
I love Little Caesars.
Yeah. Okay, maybe the buffalo wings from Old Chicago.
Sure.
Those are good. It's the only place outside of Buffalo that I think actually has buffalo wings instead of chicken wings with hot sauce on them. So maybe it would be that.
I eat my share of chicken wings with hot sauce on them too. I'd eat that.
I'll eat those, but it's not a buffalo wing. Buffaloes are like fried different. They have to be fried. They're like twice fried. They're very crispy.
I know we don't sell them anymore, but we really need to bring back the zombie hot sauce.
We should.
Yeah.
I think
I remember that.
Yeah, it was
good.
It was good. And then we diversified into other flavors. I had like 4 different flavors at one point.
The pumpkin habanero was just good.
That was the best one.
Remember, we put it in coffee, and it was weirdly really good.
It's a pumpkin hot latte.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, no, that was good. What else was? I'm just adjusting again. This wheelchair, I can't sit flat in it, but I can move around. I can get around in it. So
it's good that you're not being in the bed.
That I'm not what?
In the bed.
Oh, I thought you said urinating in the bed. Those days are over.
Yeah.
Those days are over.
Did they pull your tubes out? Are you tubeless?
Oh, I got my tubes tied.
Good man.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the right term, but they got them out.
It is. Lots of men.
Is that the right term? Okay.
That is most certainly not.
Look at Patricia. Oh.
Yeah. No, I hope I didn't make a embarrassing mistake. Did you just have to yawn just now, Patricia?
No,
I was
laughing.
I used to sing the Beat Farmers. He'd go, she untied my boots. She untied my jeans. She untied my tubes I had tied in my teens. The Beat Farmers, Country Dick, Montana. It was good.
I'm not familiar with the Beat Farmers.
I'll familiarize you with them and you'll love them. Country Dick, Montana. He died in the late 90s, but he did a song, I'm a happy boy, happy boy. Remember that? It was a novelty song.
Maybe. I think I haven't heard that. Like in the
back. A little dog Spot
got
hit by a car. I put his guts in a box and threw him in a drawer. It's Beat Farmers. Good stuff.
Huh.
Do you go to the Grand Ole Opry, Doug?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Heck yes.
Yeah, it's great. It's like an old school radio show, and you always see a mixture of really old bands and then really new, come out, and it was just that's a neat experience. I really love the music scene here. It's really fun.
I lived in Clarksville. My dad was at Fort Campbell.
Yep.
When I was a kid, so we'd go out there every so often. Honestly, it was It was amazing, and you could just like you could meet like people would walk up like during the chorus when they weren't singing, and then like Porter Wagner and other
Yeah.
like classic country stars, you could shake their hand like from the stage. It
Yeah.
was crazy.
They come and show up locally all the time. By the way, Clarksville is where all my books are printed. That Jostens in Clarksville is where all my books are.
Really?
Yeah, my big
I had no idea.
books. Yeah,
They do. Your books come out gorgeous.
my books kick royal ass. Look at that thing.
Yeah. Is that one of the hardcovers?
Yeah.
Yep. This is a Bigfoot Build 2
Oh, okay.
with the gold edges. Look at
Gold
this stuff.
gilded edges.
Yeah.
Fancy.
I just
Yeah,
did
they come out
approvals on the first leatherbound book that I'm doing in that format is Earthworm Jim Black and White, and then Earthworm Jim 2 is also being printed. That will be the sequel to that will be shipping in February.
I
Do
love
you like-
Earthworm Jim.
So back it on Indiegogo right now. It's still open. Earthworm Jim 2. After you've given to Dan's GoFundMe, you can reward yourself with a little book. And
I appreciate that.
we're about to raise. If we can get up to it's almost 240,000. We already did 260 on Kickstarter, so we're getting real close to doing $500,000 on that raise.
Congratulations.
That's amazing.
I can live on my comics.
Yeah.
I mean, a ton of it.
Sure.
About 3/4 of it goes to shipping and printing alone.
That was my guess.
I pay a
Well,
colorist.
And you're not these ship things are not a joke, right?
No.
I went when Bigfoot Build 2 came out. I went ahead and rebought 1 because I wanted the extra stuff, and I'm a glutton.
Sure.
This is 7.5 pounds.
7.5 pounds. And ship those overseas and watch what happens. I get slaughtered
Yeah.
on shipping. And I charge a lot on shipping. I mean, I try and estimate the right amount. And all my international people are going, how can you do this? It costs more than the books. I'm going,
Yeah.
I can't, and if you lose a book, we would lose a book shipping out to Italy. And we have what I call white glove service in our shipping and fulfillment. So we will reship books free of charge. If there's any damage, if it gets lost, it's on us. So we'll send 3 attempts, and then after the 3rd attempt, I still have to refund their money. So there's a lot of clients where I'll lose like $300 on every campaign. We'll keep trying on the next campaign if they come in and buy.
But that makes you good people for doing that.
Yeah, I just think crowdfunding needs a lot more customer service stuff and that kind of loyalty instead of like, well, too bad, sorry, see ya.
Yeah. Matthew, do you have the shipping box near you?
I do not. It's upstairs still. Yeah.
Because they're gorgeous. Like the box. Because anyone that didn't know, Doug gets custom boxes that are printed all around it.
Yeah.
That's great because you can keep the book extra nice in the box as well. But yeah, the box
this time for the first time I custom designed that box. So the way it folds in is it actually holds and cushions the book. But this is the first time I'm doing full 4-color wrap. So I'm doing a full 4-color obscene anything I want to do on that box. And it's going to be.
The crazy thing is the books are full of little Easter eggs that are hidden all through them. But so is the box. I mean, you can actually sit there after like you've read your comic and been just like, man, I wish I had something else to read. And there's just tons of stuff that's like in the box art.
Yeah, I put my picture on the last Earthworm Jim box. It's my face going through all of the mail room. It's got this big me.
Well, the great thing about it is it's right where the box fold is. So from the top, it looks like you just peek it up over the edge of the box.
It's my brand. My branding went wild on that one.
So
you got to brand yourself.
You have to be a little bit of a megalomaniac, a little bit.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are hidden, I just earlier this week found something else on the spine.
Yeah.
The Fresno crawler.
The Fresno Nightcrawler. That's a pair of pants running by. I put that in gold foil. There's stuff hidden in Bigfoot Bill that no one has found. but it is one of the biggest things I've ever hidden in my life. How's that for a clue?
Is it Larry the Cucumber?
Well, there is a lot going on in those books that is all, I just keep building on it until someone figures it out. But it's pretty insane. So that's my little fun. I'm having fun with that thing.
But I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Tim Lim and Mark Pellegrini's books, but they tuck all kinds of little in jokes and everything throughout their books too.
Yeah, they put me in as a character in one of their books too.
Oh yeah, Doug got
What
kidnapped
book
by
was it?
terrorists.
Yeah.
It was Common America 1.
Common One. Yep.
Yeah.
In the background.
Doug got kidnapped by terrorists.
Yeah. That was a little tribute to me.
If I remember correctly, Dan actually snuck in a little My Gal the Zombie Easter egg in Nightmare Before
No.
Christmas.
Oh, you pulled that
That's
off?
a secret. That's a
It's a
secret.
secret. Did you
That's
put her
not
in the
allowed.
trees or something? Did you put her in the
It's
trees?
printed. It's
Oh, I
okay.
can't talk about this. I can't talk about this. Okay, how can I talk about this enough? All right.
Well, you
but
don't
no,
have to,
this is
well,
great.
for one, Dan.
So-
it doesn't. If you want to talk about it, you don't have to do it on air.
No.
But
Okay,
also, like
first,
the most people have ever watched one of my
Disney
shows.
lawyers are listening.
I know.
Sorry, I thought it was a fun
So then they would
story.
have to click. They could try to not
It's
exactly.
true.
So
It's true.
anyway,
That's
once
right.
in a while, in the inks that I would get, there would be. Is Ben back? I
Hello.
hope so.
It is back.
Hey, you know what? I gotta
Ben back.
Ben,
Sorry
welcome
about
back.
that.
I gotta jump. I got a company coming over at 9.
Hey, Doug.
Bye,
Hey,
Doug. Sorry,
It was
missed
nice
you.
to meet you all. Ben, it was my pleasure. Ken, Dan, God bless you. I'm praying for you all the time, buddy. Thanks,
Dan.
Matt. Thanks, Patricia. God bless you all.
I appreciate
Thank you so much.
Have a great night.
I
Everybody
love
give
you
to Dan's
very much.
GoFundMe. Oh, I love you too. I love you too, brother.
it. I know you do.
I hope I didn't get rid of
So
him.
that's cool. So
Oh no.
No,
No,
I
no,
actually
no,
do
no.
have to pop off myself just to
Why
take
do
care
you
of the
have-
doggy and stuff. I gotta
Everyone's
take care of
leaving
the
now.
animals.
do you want me to tell the story before we do?
Do
What's
I
that?
offend?
Do you want me to tell the story?
Oh yeah, do that real quick.
Can
Yeah,
you-
Doug
Alright.
had actually
Okay.
mentioned ahead of time.
So once in a while, there would be a nightmare character. There would be a character in Nightmare Before Christmas that I couldn't find anyone in the movies. So one time when there was a lady, looked really old. She almost looked like the old witch from like, or maybe she was the old witch from EC, not the Crypt Keeper. So she almost looked like that character, but maybe familiar color scheme with her skin and eyes,
Yeah.
like a zombie. So maybe not, but you know.
It's
So
kind of
Patricia
like
recognized that.
when you go to Disneyland, like as a guest, you are not allowed to like cosplay or dress up as any Disney characters. So what people do is they do Disney bounding, where they like kind of dress up kind of like the character and use the color scheme and create like an outfit inspired by. So it's kind of like that. So it's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's, but people come up with clever stuff. They'll wear like a purple top, like a crop top or something, and like green pants, and then have like a fork in there. So it evokes Ariel, but it's not.
Exactly. And that's what
Almost
you
like
did.
copyright law.
So
Well, the
Exactly.
unprinted cover for Power Rangers Turtles #5, that because of
Yeah.
COVID financial backing got backed out. It was a split cover. It was going to be on 2 different covers, and he put in my son Power Ranger Anthony, as well as 6 other people.
A ton of people.
Like
A ton. I put a
Black Nerd Comedy.
I put a lot into that cover. Yeah. Andre.
Yeah, Bulk and Skull, I think,
And
was
like-
on there.
Yeah, I squeezed them in. A number of 99-cent fresh pizza, of course, and Patricia flatted that as well. So
it was super fun.
you know,
It
lost
turned out
to the
so good.
world. So that I've got in my back pocket for just the right time to. They told me I had a copyright to the image, but not to the characters. That's what Boom said. So
We
I was
couldn't.
like, okay,
We couldn't sell it.
that's probably true.
Ooh.
But if it was printed and
Yeah.
given away with your comics, I don't.
I'm sure I could do that. I could charge $40 for the comic and for the prints. So yeah.
Well, it's been really fun, guys. Everyone, please go donate and share Dan's GoFundMe. We want to give him all of the money to help him out. So
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks
And
for
the
Thanks
thing's
for
been running
organizing.
a couple of weeks, and it's already more than half of its goal,
yay!
which
Yeah.
is awesome. And so either I will drop the link in the chat again here. Let me get to make sure I've got the right one.
I did
And-
click it a little bit ago. It's the right one.
Well, I mean, I had another one. I mean, I've got a little notepad with like a bunch of different links, including the Amazon profile and whatever else.
Oh, cool.
So
Thank you.
I've got to
That's
make
good.
sure I've got all that stuff down there. So, yeah, I've
Yeah.
got your Facebook profile on there. So if any people who show up want to check out the Daily Dan Show, they go ahead and follow you there on Facebook, and on the GoFundMe there and all sorts of stuff. So,
Well, thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure.
thank you so much, Patricia.
Thank you, Patricia.
Bye.
And tell
care. Merry
Joseph.
Christmas.
Thank you so much.
I will. Bye.
Yeah, love you too. Cool.
Okay, now the real show can start.
No.
Yeah. I'm
Now,
sorry
some
about
people
that.
might not know. Ben did a My God Zombie cover as well when we did one with had it out through Antarctic Press. So he did that cover, which is really great too. So and
Well,
thanks
of
again for
course.
doing that.
No
That was
problem.
really an honor for me.
Don't think nothing of it. That's what we do, man. We take care of each other.
Heck yeah.
You gotta
I
stick
appreciate
together with all the stuff that's going on these days.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And you do great with Kickstarter too. We were just talking about crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Doug was saying how he's almost at, what did he say? How much?
Almost a
Quarter or
half million.
Almost
Yeah,
a
it's
half
a
million.
$500,000. God, can you imagine what you can
Yeah.
do with that kind of dough?
Well, you can send a lot of really heavy books.
Well, and a lot of it's printing and shipping, of course. You could print a lot of books.
You can make,
but I
a,
mean-
you can make a movie for $500,000.
Mhm.
I mean,
That's
holy
You can
crap.
make 10 movies.
Right, yeah, I mean, really.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Between his Kickstarter and his Indiegogo, because he ran it on both.
Mhm.
Well, I mean,
Running
Doug's a
now
great
on
talent. He's
Indiegogo.
got a lot of, he's got a lot of gravitas, and people know who he is. I mean, he built that, so there's nothing.
And he keeps
does it
fulfilling
without
that's
really,
the other thing,
I mean, it's amazing how he's able to do that without really having a huge, YouTube presence or anything else like that. I mean, people know
There
who he is.
isn't a cult following for Earthworm Jim. I mean, I played it. I remember playing it on Sega Genesis, right? And it was just a really awesome game, awesome character. I wanted to tell him before he left, but I do have future plans of cosplaying Earthworm Jim.
Yeah, I could see it.
Because my son and I, we do cosplay it. My most recent is the white suit spy from Spy vs. Spy.
Okay,
my whole van is decked out. We did our first event. We did a charity toy drive this last weekend. But Dan has helped out quite a bit on some of those. He's drawn stuff for me for different events. He's a true talent, and I'm happy to be able to help support him, support his parents when they're here. I got to go pick them up.
Yeah.
In fact, when we were talking about it, I was like, oh, I need to add that to my calendar. I had to be like, oh, they changed the date on me. And
the 17th now they're coming in.
17th, I got to go pick them up.
Yeah.
Doesn't Doug live in Hawaii or something like that?
No, he's in Tennessee now.
Oh,
but he was also in Colorado for a while, Doug.
Colorado.
So if that's but no, I'm out in Colorado.
Wow, that's amazing.
I lived in Hawaii when I was in junior high. So
well,
I've yet to be to Hawaii.
That must be fun.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
it's
have
cool.
I've never been off of the continent. So
Yeah, you should travel. Getting off the continent. I finally went to Europe for the first time last year.
Were you at a con?
Never been there. What?
Were you at a convention?
No, I was there for the filming of Warrior Nun in Spain.
Oh, that's right.
Such a good show. I was blown away by that, and
Oh.
I'm happy to meet you like this at least to tell you so. I was thoroughly impressed. I can't wait to see if there's another season.
Well, yeah, they were going to start filming, but the coup shut everything down. So until they open Spain back up, then it's really not gonna. They're just waiting. The scripts are written. They're talking about maybe filming in Italy, but they sure hate to move the production there since Spain was such a great place to film, and the
That's
government.
two different backgrounds too. That's hard.
Well, yeah, I mean, part of the series took place in the Vatican, but they didn't actually film in the Vatican, so you know.
I don't think that would get approved.
yeah,
Huh?
I have a feeling that the Pope might take some issue to it. Of
Oh,
course,
he's a big fan of the show. Didn't you know?
I didn't.
The current Pope, he might be cool with that.
Is he tweeting it out there? He's tweeting it
Huh?
out there.
I bet he's watched it. I'll bet he's
Yeah.
watched it. Who
He
knows?
might.
I have to confess I don't have Netflix or anything like that, so I haven't seen the show, but it seems from the promos that there's a lot more cloth in the TV show than there was in the old comics.
Oh yeah, they took some liberties on the original concept. I mean, I actually, to be honest, I really have not much to do with it overall. It's in my contract that I can. They have to fly me out there for the first day of filming. So,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. But other than that,
There's some liberties in the story, and yeah, different costume.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that if your properties ever get picked up, chances are, unless you have a lot of influence, I mean, hell, even power players get their stuff changed. I mean, I'm sure like when Stephen King did when he did that Shining movie with Stanley Kubrick. I mean, he says himself that he hated it, but it's way better than the actual literal translation of the book into a movie. You know, the TV series they did that they actually tried to translate the book into the the TV series. It sucked. You know.
Yeah, that one was it a miniseries? And
I think so.
Yeah,
it was very faithful to the book, from what I understand, but it was god awful.
I actually went to high school with a cat who was an extra in the TV series.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was when I lived down in Denver for a year, and they actually filmed it at the Lookout again. And so, my Matt, another Matt who's in my class, he took like 2 days off. One was for the it was like on a Tuesday or whatever. He went down for the tryouts, and then it went really well, and so he went back like the next week for filming for like a half day or whatever. And we ended up going to the same college for our freshman year, and he had a video cassette of his performance, and it's like 14 seconds of him looking around the corner.
It's 14 seconds of fame. There you go.
Yeah, if only it could have been a second longer.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have you been to the Lookout Hotel?
I haven't.
All right.
I've been outside it. It.
Well, we've been there, and the thing is that it's actually, I mean, it's a really quaint hotel. It's really small, actually, if you think about it. The thing is, when Hollywood gets a hold of your creation, chances are, if you're lucky, you get like 50% of the original material to survive. I mean, look at the Turtles. I mean, when they took Turtles, I mean, was it Turtles into the animated version? Was that anything near the comic book? You know, other than 4 turtles? I mean, and they're ninjas. I mean, the thing is, you got to expect it. You know, when Hollywood gets its grubby hands on anything, it's never going to be exactly the way it's meant to be. You know, so but you know, sometimes that's a good thing though, because things that work on paper doesn't necessarily translate well into, you know, to other media. And so the people who do that stuff, they know how to, take a property and translate it. That's basically what they're doing. They're translating your IP into something that actually, people will watch. People will, take care because, unlike a book or a comic where you can take as long as you want to tell a story. I mean, you can do 1,000 pages on a story. Take as long as you want to develop your characters and situation. But on a movie or TV, you're set with time limit. You got to get in and out there an hour and a half. So you got to tell your story within that time frame.
Well, and I think Scott Pilgrim was a very good example of that, because there was some stuff that was very, like, the first half hour is like quotes from the book, the first book, but after that it's just so truncated. They fit it. It's still, they still did it well, but I mean it's a pretty faithful adaptation, but there's still so much that was left out. So
and I think that in a lot of ways that's not a bad thing too. If you look at like I think Scott Pilgrim is a good example. If they spent time in and out and humming and hawing like the book does a little bit, you're going to lose the audience's attention. And I mean, another was in Lord of the Rings, they cut out Tom Bombadil altogether for the theatrical edition.
Well, yeah, you got to distill it. You got to distill it down to its essentials. You got to tell the story. I mean, but then the thing is that also you got to look at the source. I mean, like Game of Thrones. I mean, the book's still not finished. I mean,
oh my goodness, the books aren't finished for it.
The books are not finished. I mean, George R. R. Martin's still working on the books.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so you notice that when the season started to come to an end, they said, well, the book's not finished. Let's just make up stuff as we go along. And look how it turned out. I mean, the last season, people, I mean, they just figure, let's just get this over with. So they just started making up stuff. I'm sure they had an outline, of things that they use. But it seemed to me that somehow they lost their way at the final season, and they said, well, let's just wrap it up. Just wrap it up, just end it. And, hopefully it'll be, and then that last season probably ruined Game of Thrones for a long time. I mean, I know that HBO Max was probably relying on that series to carry their streaming services, but now it's been tainted. So how people are going to react to it, even if it returns, may not be as lucrative as they had originally planned. So it's
fun fact about George R. R. Martin there is, and I heard this from a trivia thing on radio, is that he was the first person to have a ticket to the first New York Comic-Con. 14-year-old George R. R. Martin.
I heard that
first
too.
one.
Yeah,
have
that's what I heard too.
Because it's a who came first, right? New York or San Diego. Everyone always thinks just because San Diego is what it is, it's international Comic-Con, right? Is that San Diego was first, but New York was.
New York is the birthplace. New York is the birthplace of comics, man. That's where the Comic-Con would start. I was in a Comic-Con back in the early 80s, and it was an amazing affair. But everything, it was down in some sort of basement. I guess everything is in a basement in New York.
Or a garage.
Or a garage, exactly. I mean, so because that was before they built the Javits Center and all that kind of stuff, where you could actually have. But I was there, and I was snot loads, 15, 16-year-old. If I had money then, like I had now, I would have bought so much artwork. I mean, almost everybody from Marvel was there, at that time, and they were just selling artwork, and they were selling cheap. Well, I guess cheap by 70s standards, so, and it's like, God, if I had that money now, then back then I would have walked away with so much original artwork. But, it's like, hey, when you're a teenager, you're not exactly flush with cash unless your daddy is like, own buildings or have it makes a lot of money,
I have my original sketches from Dan. I keep those safe.
Keep it safe, Dad. That's going to be hugely valuable.
He's going to blow up. I'm going to be right there. I'm going to be right behind him.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna be behind him, pushing him. We'll get
Well,
that drawing hand back up.
That's
Dan's
like
got a great prop IP. I mean, he just exploited it. I mean, the thing is, My Gal is on Me. That's a great title for a movie if you think about it, or a TV
Thank
series.
Yeah.
I'm totally serious. I mean, you could develop that IP, And the thing is, right now people are starving for content. Okay, right
Original
now,
content too.
oh my God, yes, original content. I mean, they're just buying everything left and right, especially Netflix, because Netflix has no. They're not Warner Brothers and they're not Marvel. I mean, not Disney. So they have no library of IPs that they can just draw from, then strip mine. Because like Hulu and no, not Hulu. I'm sorry. HBO Max has got DC Comics to strip mine. I mean, you think about it. They've got what 80 plus years of material they can go through, and they don't have to print a single comic starting tomorrow, and they still have 80 years of material they can call through. 80 plus years of material. Same with Marvel. They could stop publishing tomorrow, and they'd have 80 plus years they could strip mine. What does Netflix have? Nothing. Okay, they've got no history. They've got no place to strip mine. I mean, they've got content, yeah. Okay, but the thing is, they don't have anything that identifies them, as unique. And that's why it's a perfect opportunity for some enterprising publisher to come up and say, hey, we got content you can use. So. And that's what they're really looking for. I mean, the thing is right now, if the theaters were open, and everything was normal, then it wouldn't be such an issue. But right now, streaming is the future. I mean, everyone say, theaters. That's like when the car first came and the people made buggy whips and, how are you going to do without your buggy whips? You got to have your buggy whips. Theaters are dead. They are dead unless you're going to make them, like a premier experience. Like I would pay to go to a theater if I sat in a nice, easy chair, and I had headphones so that I could drown out everybody around me, and the theater screen was like 3 stories tall. I mean, if the theater experience was like that, you have to make it so it's not the same as watching it at home. Okay, it's got to be like going to a live event, some such like it's got to be worth it for the money you're going to put down on it. And that's the way I think. The chain theaters are pretty much dead unless they adapt, to a new environment. I mean, I could see them doing like live events, like concerts and stuff, making that switch. Make it exclusive there. But people just got to admit, by far, people take the path of least resistance, and streaming is the path of least resistance. I mean, it's so easy. So, why don't you watch a movie? I sit down, pop my own popcorn that cost me 25 cents. Pause it so I can use the restroom. Nobody interrupting or talking about the movie. If you miss something, you just go back, and then watch it again.
Well, there's the new streaming service Peacock that has like a lot of the old TV content from like the 80s and 90s. So I doing it for free right now. I'm not paying for it yet, but they have the new reboot of Saved by the Bell. So they have all the Saved by the Bell stuff, and it is completely limited, like you said about Netflix, but they got a lot of the rights to the old TV shows that nobody was using. It wasn't anywhere else, and they capitalized on that, and I think they're going to do pretty well in that sense.
Well, yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter is that it would have been difficult for somebody with a new IP to come up and try to sell it to a streaming service. But right now, it's not that it's. I mean, it's difficult. Yes, I'm not saying it's going to walk in the park, but they're looking. They're looking for new material. I mean, half the new stuff that's on Netflix now are from comic books. I mean,
there's a lot. Yeah. There was another one that I saw recently that I'm not remembering what it was, but yeah, there definitely is. Now, I was going to say Peacock though is NBC, DreamWorks, Universal.
Oh, okay, I did not know that.
So they've got the Universal monsters, They have the whole Universal catalog. They have the DreamWorks catalog, and a lot of that stuff was with Netflix. So they're waiting for those contracts to expire. But
Yeah.
so Cleopatra in Space is on Peacock, and
Well,
that's
I mean,
DreamWorks.
Netflix knows they're in a weak position. Okay, right
Yeah.
now they're the but right now they're being assaulted on all sides, and they have to the ramparts need to be defended, and the only way to keep their customer, I mean, yeah, they're the top dog now, but very easily things can change in the next year. I mean, I heard that the Disney got like over 75 million subscribers, in just a year, and they hadn't planned on. The original plan was to get $60 million, by 2022 or 2024.
Well,
So
and the mouse just bought Hulu too.
I thought they already owned Hulu.
They were partnering with them, and that's how they kind of was trying to sell their packages was
Well, that makes
Hulu
sense.
and ESPN online. But now I think they've bought it out.
Well, that makes sense because they need a service to do all their not kids stuff. Their R-rated and adult material and stuff, so they can compete head to head. The thing is, they'll probably want to offer them together as a package, to give both Hulu and Disney Plus. And see, that's where Disney has a really big advantage over Netflix, because like I said, they've got all these IPs they own. I mean, Mickey Mouse, Marvel Comics, Fox, things like that. So they can, like I said, they can strip mine till the cows come home. And people are familiar with those properties, so it wouldn't be a hard sell to do that. That's why right now it's the perfect time for independent creators and people with vision, to approach them, and say, hey, we got stuff that you can exploit too as well. The thing about Warrior Nun is that Netflix owns Warrior Nun, so they have access to the entire Warrior Nun universe. I mean, they every single comic we did, and it'd be one thing if Warrior Nun was. I mean, the thing about Warrior Nun than like Old Guard or Umbrella Academy, and things like that, is that they're going to run out of material. I mean, I don't know how long Umbrella Academy ran, but I think it didn't run more than like 12 issues. If I'm correct, 10 or 12 or 15. Even the boys only lasted for like what 50, 40 or 50 issues, right? Am I correct? So you're going to eventually run out of material. At least source material, and they're going to have to rely on spin-off material. The thing about Warrior Nun is that we did over 100+ issues. And
was it really?
Over like 100.
I believe it. Yeah.
And plus all the characters that are associated with it. So they own every single part of that. So that to them is effectively their universe they can exploit, forever. And that's what they're looking for. I mean, like your idea, like My Gal the Zombie, that could easily be made into a movie. I mean, it would be a very low budget, but it can be done. And with crowdfunding, I mean, you could you could set a budget for like $1 million or $500,000, get it shot, and I bet you would triple or quadruple your money easily. Because it would be that the thing about it is that the technology has now caught up. Okay, people with their laptops can do special effects. Okay, that rival stuff coming out of Hollywood.
What I'm able to do on my phone with the editing I do is just amazing. The software to go along with that, where I can shoot and edit everything from my phone, has turned out so great.
I mean, people are making entire movies on their phone. I mean, think about that for a minute. All right, it's just like, would that even be possible? 10 years ago? No.
5 years ago, it wasn't possible.
5 years ago, it wasn't even possible. But people are making stuff on their phone. I mean, entire movies. Okay, and then also like the short form format of entertainment that YouTube offers. That's the thing is that people don't realize it. Or I think some people have, but YouTube offers a great opportunity for an entrepreneurial creator to just start doing shows for YouTube. I know for a fact that some shows that start off YouTube get picked up by some of the streaming services just because they keep putting out content. And right now the key is content, content, content. People want content, and that's the beauty of what's happening now. Okay, because the traditional gatekeepers, like Marvel and DC and even the studios, those walls are coming down. They are crashing. Because right now you have right now is the perfect time for independent people, creators can get on and find an audience. I mean, I look at some of the, I mean, God, some of these guys like with Jacksepticeye and some of these YouTube personalities. I mean, they got millions of people watching them,
Oh,
millions,
sure. Tons.
and that's, I just thought to myself, holy crap! I mean, not even CNN and some of these cable, they don't get that kind of audience. I mean, it's just like you just gotta entertain people. That's the thing.
One of the big ones we watch is Mr. Beast. If you guys don't know who that is, he's about to push 50 million subscribers on his channel.
Think about
50
that.
million subscribers.
Million subscribers. I mean, the population in the United States is what, 300 million? I mean, you think about that. 50 million. What was that?
50 million.
Yeah, I mean, 300. There's the population in the entire United States is 300 million. I mean, 50 million people. That's I mean, you're talking a crap ton of people are watching that thing. I mean, you think about it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I mean, but what does he do? I mean, what does he do? 50 million.
He
people?
does like challenges and gives away money and houses and cars, and he just started a food bank and he's in North or South Carolina, and the channel he's create for that, all the profits go from the YouTube channel is going to go to support the nonprofit of the charity organization, but he gives away millions of dollars every year
Wow.
to do it, and it's crazy. Like my son is trying to interview other YouTube personalities because he can't go around to Comic-Cons. Like we go with Dan to different Comic-Cons as well. My son also gets a table or is invited as a media guest. He's Power Ranger Anthony, and he interviews Power Rangers. Well, this year has canceled all that. I mean, me and Dan was supposed to be traveling across country into Canada this year, got canceled, right? So we're trying to reach out to these YouTube personalities, and he wants to interview these YouTubers for different things. And I'm on a couple other podcasts myself, and it's so hard to just get a hold of these guys. But he's one of the big ones that my son follows. He's been watching some animators. Dan and we've talked about getting my girl, the zombie girl, gal, animated and stuff like that. Like I know to get that, help get that done. And we have a friend, a mutual friend, Mike Cervantes, that is doing great with his animation. He does an awesome little short comic similar to my gal, and I'm with you. I mean, Dan, we need to get on this ball. I guess I need to get on this ball, huh?
Well, yeah. And the thing about it, the beauty of it is that now it used to be you had to rely on the gatekeepers for financing. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to do that anymore. You can go directly to consumer and say, "Hey, I got this. I want to do this movie called My Gal the Zombie. Can you help me fund it?" You go directly to the consumer, and if they like your idea, they're going to give you money to get it done. You see, that's the thing, is that you don't have to go begging to Marvel or DC or Universal or Disney or whatever or whatnot. You could actually take your idea and go direct to the consumer. Says, "I got this great idea. I want to do an animated, a web series called My Gal the Zombie. Here's my proposal. I need $15,000." For like 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes or whatever you set your goal at, will you help me? And this is what you'll get, and look at Doug TenNapel. He did Earthworm Jim. $500,000. I mean, come on. I can't before name any comic book artist who could make that kind of money, working for Marvel or DC with one book. I mean,
Working from home.
working from home, exactly. I mean, I can't name a single one. You know, I mean, the thing is, and all of that is Doug's, money. He can keep that. He doesn't share with anybody. He just keeps it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it, is that the dynamic is changing. We are beginning to realize that I mean, and Kickstarter and Indiegogo, that's just the beginning. There's going to be other crowdfunding opportunity platforms coming out too, because they see the possibilities, of anybody doing this kind of thing. It's basically a free, and this actually opens up a really big free and open market and it's really, this capitalism in its rawest form. You have your product, and you're telling people, this is my product. Will you help me finance my product? Will you, and people will vote with their dollars. They say, oh, I like this project. I want to back it, and I mean, I think a lot of people forget that the crowdfunding is not a store where you just buy product. You're actually backing the creator. And I think a lot of people have forgotten that, and I mean, truth be told, these projects, these campaigns, really, it's not really about the product. It's about supporting the creator. They're not really obligated to actually send you a product, to be honest. But if you don't send them a product, chances are highly unlikely they're going to support your next project.
That's the big ticket is building that trust with the consumer. So
exactly.
Part of the fun thing is it kind of puts arts back into the realm of the market. I don't know, I don't mean in terms of like the economic concept of the market, but I mean like the little, like the corner store, right? If you go down to the gas station, the corner store, whatever it is, you get to know the people that run there. You get to kind of have conversations with the clerks and get to know who these people are and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And you have that, so you have a loyalty, build a brand loyalty to your local gas station because that's where Chuck works,
you really have to. Yeah, you really have to you have to build your consumer. It's no longer a given that you're going to have success. I mean, Marvel and DC, there are people who, all the studios and stuff, they've always relied on their brand name, and their power to carry them forward.
Well, I think for a long, I'm not sure they always did, but it certainly has been that way for a long, long time.
Yes,
I remember back when I first started getting into comics in the late 80s, early 90s, where you could there was still an expectation of getting quality product, and like in the last few years, there's sometimes where I'll come back from the shop and I'm just like, man, there's nothing I wanted to buy because none of it's that same quality of kind of stuff.
Well, the thing is that when the comic book industry abandoned the newsstand market, they pretty much shot themselves in the foot. You see, that's the thing. They didn't try to keep, comics. Let's face it. It was, when comics were invented, it's a very cheap, disposable form of entertainment. Okay, it was just something, that a kid could buy to, because what else was there to do? You could read comics and you could get, or find something to entertain yourself for free, but most kids could buy comics on their allowance, but now it's out of the realm as an impulse buy. And that's where I think the problem has been, is that comics are no longer an impulse buy. It's actually a major purchasing decision. Even if a comic is $4 or $5, that's a major decision, especially with comics being only 22 to 24 pages. You can read in 3 minutes, so there's not much of an entertainment value, in that $4 or $5 you're plunking down, for your comic. And so it's either got to be a hell of a comic, or it's just people are just not going to bother with it anymore. Now if a comics was $1, okay, $1 or $2, then you're more willing to be an impulse buy and willing to take a chance on trying out a new comic or just keeping up with it, and passing it along to somebody else and getting them interested in it. Because if you have a $5 comic, you're not likely to share it.
No.
But if you bought a comic for 10 cents, you're going to share it with your friends. You're going to read it over and over again. I mean, that's why these old comics are so valuable, because, you know, no one gave a rat's ass about comics back then. They just read the ever living crap out of it.
Comics, I barely read them. I might
Yeah.
once if I do read them. They go in a bag and board, and they go in a box.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, and also the variety of comics has been limited too. I mean, the
Sure.
thing about it was that you know, like I just bought a whole bunch of old books. I mean, like we used to have like you know, things like, you know, what, Richie Rich, you know,
Mhm.
and
Oh, yeah.
you know, and then I mean, even Marvel back in the day. I mean, look at this. DC did what? Comics for girls. Here you go.
Heck yeah. Those are the good ones.
My Little
Young
Ponies.
Love was
Yeah.
DC. Oh, and those.
David Cassidy. Hubba
Oh
hubba.
my goodness, yeah. Bob Hope comics. DC did
I
Bob
mean,
Hope.
would you think DC ever did anything like that? When, you know, things like that?
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
no,
no,
Marvel
they did.
Comics.
They
Marvel
had
Comics,
Henry
too?
Scarpelli. So
My
yeah, My
Love.
Love, all those. I love those things.
Where happened to
That's what
those?
John Romita came from. Where he came from romance books at DC, and then brought the melodrama to Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Mhm,
there's
mhm.
nothing. All there is superheroes. I
Yeah.
mean, what if I want to read war comics? No war comics. What if I want to read a romance comic? No romance comic. You know, I mean, it's just
Well, then you go read manga because they still make them all in
yeah,
Japan.
but manga, that's a whole different kettle of fish. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
You can read some My Girl the Zombie Gal.
Yeah,
There
we
you
got
go.
we got romance in there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's got your humor, it's got your romance,
Horror.
and it's got zombies. I mean, what more can you ask? You know?
It's
Yeah.
got action. It's got slice of life. Yeah, that's one thing I love about My Gal as a property it's really kind of a catch-all for all that mid-century 20th century stuff that doesn't really have a home in the market anymore, but like still people want, you know.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
and
Thank
the other
you.
thing too and the other thing about it is it's slice of life that's not like sarcastic, right? Like a lot of slice of life stuff that's out in the market now, it's got this angriness to it all, right? There's this bitterness to it, and so it's not really, there's no fun in it. So you read it up, and it's all about angst.
Well,
Little
the thing about Dan's series, My Gal Zombie, is that it needs to connect on a visceral level to readers. You know, the thing is that it's one thing to come up with a concept and an idea, but if you really want it to be a success, it has to connect on a very fundamental level to a reader. You know, it's got to say, "Oh, I could identify with this character's problems, or I can identify with this character's personality." You know, because in the long term, in the story itself, of course, is important. You know, but in the end, it's the characters that people really adhere to. I mean, that's why I think, you know, books like Harry Potter or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, people identify with, Star Trek, Star Wars. You know, there's some character somebody can identify with.
Identify with Donatello, that's for sure.
I can see you as a Donatello. There you go. You know?
Yeah, I could see.
But
that.
that's the thing. Dan and Patricia could write. They just together, you know, they write such amazing stories that could be, like you're saying, easily translated to either a movie or a TV series, whether it be animated or live action. But it can be done, and it's relatable. It's
Sure, and it
real.
could be a high budget thing or it could be a low budget thing. You know, the thing about it is the classic love triangle. You know, the thing is everybody likes a good conflict. You know, and you have the classic love triangle. It works every time. You know, who's you gonna go with? This guy, that guy. You know, and the thing is that it's all a matter of how you set it up and, you know, how you portray the characters.
With some Twilight action going in there.
It
Not too
works
far off.
every time. Trust me. I mean, Ninja High School, same way. It's a classic love triangle type thing, you know. And Archie, it's worked for Archie for like 80 years, so it's a classic love triangle thing, you know. So it's one of those things that, you know, like it goes as far back as like Cyrano de Bergerac and all those other classic romance stories. Hey.
Now, Ben, Avatar no longer owns Warrior Nun? Did they just sell
Avatar
it to
owns the
Netflix?
comic book series. Okay, they
Okay.
can do they can, but Netflix owns the property. Okay, now they do the net Avatar does have the right to continue doing Warrior Nun as a comic book series. You know,
Yeah.
so and they get the royalties from Netflix for using the name and the character. You know, so
Sure.
I don't get a penny. So
Yeah.
the only thing I get is creator credit, which is fine. I'm you know, and a
Sure.
trip to Spain. So it's I'm quite happy with that. So there's no
Yeah.
hard feelings on that. Though it would be nice to have gotten some of that, you know, option money, but you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is. You know, so
Yeah.
but
Now
it just
have
goes to show you can get it done. You know, if I can get it done, anybody can get it done. You know,
sure.
it's been done before.
Did Avatar shop it to Netflix themselves, or did
No,
they get another studio or another agent to produce it and then sell it to Netflix?
no, it's a real long story. I mean, the we've been on the road to try to get Warrior Nun developed for almost like 15 years. You
Oh
know, and
yeah.
it can take a long time. You know, if you don't have the
Yeah.
patience, it can take a while. You know, my producer Dean English is the one who actually handled the property. You know, and
Cool.
he's the one who sold it to Netflix. And but the thing
Oh,
was, it wasn't until Simon Barry came along uh, that he was able to finally sell it to Netflix, because before then he was trying to sell it as the comic book version, you know, this, you know, a campy, scantily class 1990s version, and it's like nobody got it. It's like we can't do this. It's, you know, no one will watch this, you know. And but when this he knew Simon Barry, and I'm not sure if you know who he is.
I
Uh,
don't.
Okay, well, he did a couple of shows that were sort of successful. I can't try to remember what TV shows did he do? Orphan? No, not.
Oh, he did
What?
show Kiki likes.
Yeah, he did a couple of shows before then, but he took the concept and he changed it so
Told
that
him.
it would be more sellable. Shadow Hunters. He did Shadow Hunters, you know, and there's a couple of other shows,
I
and
don't know.
he changed it. So I mean, you could take a couple of roads. You could take your IP and develop it yourself, you know, which I always encourage because it'll stay true to your vision, you know, or you
Yeah.
can let somebody handle your property and try to sell it, you know, to act as your agent to represent your
Yeah.
IP, you know, and see if he can't sell it to one of the streaming services, you know,
Yeah.
and say, hey, I got this great idea called My Gal the Zombie, and you know, this is what. Have you ever been to a pitch meeting?
No,
Have you guys ever been to a pitch meeting? Okay,
not really.
I haven't been to one in a long time, but during the late '90s, we went to a couple of pitch meetings because we were trying to sell Warrior Nun. But even back then, in fact, I even
Yeah.
did the pilot animation. And usually, the pitch
Yeah.
meeting usually entails going to a company that you might be interested in selling the idea to, and meeting a couple of guys and a couple of girls, and they usually ask, "What's it about?" You know,
Yeah.
and if you can't explain it in like one or two sentences, they're not interested. You know,
Sure.
if you could try to, if you can, but you got to. The thing about it is when you're trying to make a pitch, you know, you try to distill it into its most basic concept and try to hook somebody as quickly as possible. You know, because otherwise, unless you're a name, okay, if I
Yeah.
was Stephen King and I went there, I mean, they would come to me. I wouldn't have to go to them. You see, you know. But if they don't know who you are, then you have to convince them that your property is the next big thing. You know that, and the thing about Hollywood, at least at the time, is that you're only as, and I'm sure you heard this saying before, you're only as successful as your last project. Okay,
Yeah.
you know, so that's why I think I mean, currently it's a perfect opportunity for creatives to actually make something and get it out there, because you now have a platform. You have YouTube, you have crowdfunding, you have all this kind of stuff, you know. And like I said, there are people with such talent, animators, script writers, you know, filmmakers. I mean, right now they're looking for work. Okay,
Yeah,
people are
sure.
shut down because of the coof, you know, and they're trying to find work in some capacity. You know, animators can work at home. See, that's the beauty of it all. You know, animators can work at home. Okay, people can shoot on blue screen. You know, things like that can be done. Technology is caught up where the small independent filmmaker can rival, you know, major studios in terms of production. You know, and that's why I think that. You know, for me personally, that's the direction, you know, that I'd like to see AP go. You know, I'm trying to convince them
Yeah,
that they should actually set up a studio where we can actually get, you know, screenwriters, you know, filmmakers, animators together and start producing content, you know, and just get it out there, you know, because it doesn't do you any good if it's stuck in here. Okay.
yeah,
You know, you got to get it out so that people can see it. Otherwise, it's nothing. It's vapor, you know. So it's got to come out from here down to there, you know. If you're going to make a success of it, you know, and that takes time and money. You know, there's no question about it. That's what drives the whole industry, you know. But like I said, money is actually not as much of a problem as it used to be. Like I said, you can crowdfund everything. You know, if you were to give me a script for My Gal the Zombie for a feature film, okay,
yeah.
you know, we could read the script and say, oh yeah, we could produce this for $50,000. We get a couple of local actors. Doesn't look like we're gonna have to do a lot of special effects. You know, we can do some makeup, physical makeup. We don't have to do a lot of CGI. You know,
Yeah.
and we could film it in our neighborhood. Okay, so
Yeah.
or locally, we can film it locally. And in fact, I don't know what state you're living in, you know, but you need to check
Colorado.
and see if your state has a film commission. You know, because I know in Texas they have a film
Colorado
commission.
does.
Hmm?
Colorado does.
Yeah, go to your local, you go to your state film commission. They'll give you tax incentives to film in the state if you hire local people. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, look into it. I mean, it's just like when I looked into the Texas Film Commission, they give you tax breaks, they give you credits, they'll even give you locations you can film at. You know, if you just talk to them. You know, so it's if people want to get things done, you know, and this is the to me this is the time for the guerrilla filmmaker. You know, just go out and do it. You know, just go out and do it. You know?
Well, I mean, and that's a lot of the spirit that Dan's always brought into these comics. That you know, comics with an X, that garage band kind of, you know, making it at the Kinkos kind of a thing.
Right, we're the punk rockers, right?
Oh, heck yeah, that's the truth.
Bring it
That's the
back
thing
to
that-
basics. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Let's just do our thing.
Brought me into the stuff was he had the little ash cans at the con, and I was like, man, that's a great idea. Why have we never done anything like that? Because we're I mean, like me and my friends up at Scotts Bluff, we do the comics thing too, and we've done a few cons and stuff, but it's been up until recently there was such a burden to actually get it out to people. It was just so hard, and now technology's gotten so close. I mean, you can print them off. I mean, you just got to have a little bit of startup money, and then crowdfunding's changing the game as we speak. You know.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, look, like you just said, duct tape. Look, there's a guy asking how do you set up a pitch meeting. Okay, it's actually quite simple. If you you just contact the place you want to pitch to, and you set up a meeting. You just call and says, "Hey, I got this IP." You know, they'll tell you how to do it. You know, they'll say, "Well, usually we have to have an agent or blah 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 blah." They'll give you the rules on how to do it. Some are easier than others. You know, there's a ton of production companies out there. I mean, when we were trying to pitch Warrior Now, we went through. Did you know that you know, like Madonna had a production company? I didn't know if you knew that or not. You know, and I mean, almost everybody in Hollywood has some sort of production company. You know, some sort of front for them to, you know, get ideas and things like that. So I mean, there's hundreds of them. You know, whether or not they actually can do anything for you, that's a totally different story. I mean, there's a ton of showrunners, things like that, agents. They're all looking for the next. I mean, think about it for a minute. Okay, when Eastman and Laird did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a comic, did they even in their wildest imagination think that their comic would ever become the huge cultural phenomenon that it is now? You know, I mean, they took a chance, and some guy said, "Yeah, this got some gravitas. Maybe I should do something with it." But you know, I got to change it so it's more sellable. You know, but it's easy to you know come up with the idea. And it's right now. It's just a matter of just trying to get the information. Information is out there. I mean, all you do is just Google it. It's just how do you set up a pitch meeting? I'm sure something will come up, you know, that will show you how to do it. You know, it's not hard. You know, it's just a matter of do you have an IP that you could sell? You know, what is it that you have? You know,
I think that last one actually has a lot to it. Doug's talked about it on his stream, Doug TeNapel, and of course, you know, he kind of gained his first part of his traction in Hollywood, and a lot of that comes down to when you have a resume of stuff where people know you for. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I was animation assistant on you know, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes series, and I created Earthworm Jim, and that's how you get to meet Steven Spielberg. You know. And
exactly, you know, a thing a lot of people forget is that it's all about relationships. Okay, it's who you know, how you know them. Okay, and the thing is that look, meeting you guys here, you know, we're all making our connections, and then you make your connection. Yeah, I know this guy. You know, it's like, you know, like if I were to go to a if I go to meet my agent and he asks me, well, I'm looking for some new properties. I mean, who do you think I should contact? You know, and I know this guy Dan. He's got this thing called My God's Name. I think he'd be perfect for you. You know, that's how things get around. Okay, and a lot of things a lot of people make the mistake of, especially the first time, is they try to be a hard ass. And I understand that you want to protect your IP, and that's important. Okay, your IP is who you are, is what you are. But you know, you have to read the room. You have to be able to it depends on how, you know, how you want to if you can read it and then, oh, I got this guy on the hook, I can reel him in if I can just make the right, you know, pitch, you know. And but if the guy is like a real jerk, then you may want to just, well, you know what, man, maybe it's just not for me to, you know, do this kind of, unless he's just offering you a truckload of money, and then in which case you go, I'm willing to make some compromises here and there.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to balance your artistic integrity by the amount of money you're going to get. You know, and in the end, that's really what it comes down to. You know, it's just that, and you gotta. I know a lot of creative types who have who sold their property and then they regretted it. You know, it's like, oh my God, they just totally, you know, screwed the pooch on that one, you know, and ruined the property forever. You know, so you're taking your chances, you know, for sure. You know, you're hoping.
I was gonna say Brian Polito, right? When they ran into trouble back in the day, and he had to sell off Lady Death, and then the people he sold it to couldn't make it work and sold it to somebody else, and it became kind of a dead property. And then he was able to sweep in, you know, 10 years later and buy it back. And
that's what I'm hoping in Warrior 9.
He gets to do that thing. And on the other side of it, though, you know, Doug, his first big property he sold was Earthworm Jim, and he doesn't have the rights to it, but he's made enough of a career that now he was able to negotiate for a lend lease basically to make the comic. So he gets to make the comic version because no one else was doing it.
This is a solution for everything. I mean, Brian, I know Brian a long time, and he's a great guy, and he's a fantastic salesman. I mean, he could sell ice to an Eskimo. He is so good, you know. But the
Eskimos like ice. They're in the cold. That's not a hard sell.
I'm just using that as a euphemism.
No, I know. I know.
I will say this: the biggest piece of advice, like, because I have, like, one of my things, and one of the things I'm good at is talking to people about anything at any given time, and
Yeah.
I've used those talents to pimp out Dan, pimp out the other guys I manage. I would say Dan is one of the biggest names I do manage, being an agent for whatever,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call me. But with talking with people and trying to get some production type stuff done for other projects with other people, one of the biggest pieces of advice is having content already out there for people to go back and look on. And that's what Dan does really good. His stuff is out there, and he was constantly putting it out there. You know, My Girl, it's not just one book, right? It's not just a one hit book. It's also the little mini series that he's done on TV that's being put out there. It's the website. He's worked on Disney's Zero's Journey. You know, he's working on big name projects. So the biggest thing someone's ever told me that's in the industry, they work at Boom, is to have that material out there. And this is how the new artists are getting found too. So if you're an artist that's ever wanting to work on a comic book, yeah, there's a lot of people out there looking for work right now. But if your stuff and your style's out there, and they go to your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, whatever, and they can see it, they will reach out to you. Or when you're reaching out to them, they could be like, "Oh yeah, I did see your stuff. Yeah, I want to do that." And that's
Well-
where Dan's hit it hard with My Girl and Patricia there too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the surest sign of success is that you don't go to them; they come to you. You know, that's the thing. You know, but the thing is, if you want them to come to you, you have to prove to them that you're worth for them to come to you. You know, and the only way to really do that is to get your content out there. Okay, as I said, it doesn't do you any good to have it locked up in your head. You have to get it out there. You've got to produce. You got to produce every day. You got to produce every month, every year. I mean, the thing is, it doesn't matter whether it's a success or not. It's just a matter of getting the content out there. I mean, I've done stuff, like 20, 30 years ago. I'm still being able to utilize.
Yeah.
And
like,
it's just,
I recently noticed too that you've taken the Ninja High School and you're putting that up on Webtoons for a whole new audience.
exactly.
You know, because like
Yeah.
I didn't see that when it first came out. I wasn't aware of it. It wasn't on my radar. And then later on, somebody was just like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this series?" And I was like, no, but I wasn't something I could get a hold of. And then what happens? It runs across my Webtoons feed. It's Ben Dunn's series, and I'm like, "Oh, I know Ben Dunn." No, Ben Dunn. I've heard of Ben
Well,
Dunn.
I figure, the thing is that, and I'm still one, I brought Ninja High School back because specifically for the reason to try to get a new audience, and the only way to get a new audience is just to do new content, and the best way to do it is just to just start producing. I mean, it may take a while, and it takes time, and hopefully you'll be able to monetize it in a way that you can justify continuing to do it. I mean, a lot of Dan, I'm sure you're familiar with this as well as everybody else. Is that when you're just starting off in the business, so many creators think that they're owed immediate success. And that's just not the case. I mean, I always think about everything that's been successful in pop culture for the last 100 years. Okay, every single one of those had to start somewhere. Okay, if you ever read the story about, Eastman and Laird, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, what did they do? They didn't immediately become successes and household names overnight. They had to struggle and work and convince people that their vision was valid and that it was something that people would like. I mean, I love Star Wars. Despite the sequel trilogy, I still love Star Wars. Okay, and but to me, the most fascinating story is the George Lucas's attempt to bring it to the screen. Nobody, what's ironic is that Disney had a chance to do Star Wars. Okay, George Lucas went to Disney, proposed back in the 70s, proposed the idea to Disney, and they said, Disney passed on it. It says, we won't, what is this stuff? Nobody got it, and
Yeah.
and they could have had Star Wars right there and then, but they didn't see the value of it. They didn't see the vision of it, and I mean, that movie nearly killed him. I didn't know if you knew that or not. I mean, he had a heart attack while he was making it, and I mean that in the movie, and he was so depressed. He didn't fear, but he stuck to it, and now Star Wars is part of the common lexicon.
Oh yeah, it's not
Is
going
it-
away.
Did I see that Ben is working with Matthew Weldon? Oh yes, I am working with Matthew on a project. I'm trying to create some new IPs, so that I can start pitching. And I'm thinking I'm trying to get people that I think would work well, and we're working on a thing called Vampire Ninja Ono with Matthew. It's the conceit is that I don't think I've ever seen a movie where Western mythology mixed it up with Eastern mythology as far as the monsters are concerned. And I thought, yeah, wouldn't it be great if we did an IP where classic European monsters had it out with Asian monsters, like of classic Dracula vampire versus a Chinese jumping vampire. I mean, I think that'd be kind of a cool concept.
Yeah.
So that's where I came up
Yeah,
with the idea.
that sounds awesome. Yeah,
Well,
that's
and
actually
yeah, you just gave
that's
it.
actually been on the show before, and of course, so that man, that's a great idea. And Matt's art would be such a perfect fit
Yeah, it
for
would have
something like
it
that.
would have like martial arts versus like people who are like classic fighters, things like that. I just think it would be a fun concept, and it just thought, I'm surprised no one actually had done that yet, So it'd just be like a mashup, between Asian and Eastern, Asian and European, monsters just having it out and battle for supremacy of the world type thing. So
I don't know if you're watching it on Netflix, but they just touched on it a little bit with Van Helsing, the new series that they do in it. It's like the Helsing bloodline with Dracula, and no spoilers of what those characters are or do, but in the more recent episodes, she went back in time a little bit, like in a mental thing, and saw one of her ancestors fighting one of the Asian vampires that were like shadow walkers, that they moved within the shadows, right?
Cool.
But then that vampire had to escape the Orient and basically shipped herself to San Francisco back in that time, and was basically in a box until she just got woke up from that experience that she just experienced.
Yes,
So where it's
people
totally
say there are no good
vampire
ideas
a little
left.
bit.
There's plenty of good ideas out there. You just got to change it up a little bit. Do your own spin. I mean, like I go back to George Lucas again. I mean, he wanted to do Flash Gordon. Okay, he originally wanted to do Flash Gordon. But they said, Flash Gordon was, I guess, still a very, key features was still highly protective of the series, and they just didn't want a second time director doing their property. So George said, you know what? I'm just going to do my own Flash Gordon. I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm going to do a science fiction series. I'm going to call it The Star Wars, and I'm just going to say, screw it. I'm just going to do my own version of Flash Gordon. That's what he did, and now everyone remembers the 1980s Flash Gordon, but then the Star Wars is its own thing now. I mean, where's Flash Gordon? I mean, nobody cares about Flash Gordon.
And they just announced 9 new series.
Yeah.
Of what? Flash
Star
Gordon?
Wars.
Star Wars.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, Turtles the same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, Turtles was originally an homage to Frank Miller's Daredevil. I mean, I don't know if you knew, but a lot of people knew that. Okay, but Frank Miller, of course, revived the Daredevil series, and it was fantastic. And then the Eastman Sarah decided to do their own thing. Their something to pay homage to, because Frank Miller introduced he didn't introduce it, but he used the concept of ninjas, in the Marvel universe, and ninjas were a big thing, and before Frank Miller introduced ninjas, nobody even heard of them, Okay, ninjas in comics were not a known quantity, and Frank Miller made them a known quantity, and then Eastman said, "Hey, let's do." They loved it, and they said, "Let's do it with just 4 turtles and stuff." So, and then the rest is history. I mean, everything has to start from somewhere. I mean, every single successful IP ever in the existence of mankind had to start somewhere. A lot of people don't realize that your IP could be that something. Okay, your IP could be that spark that sets off a worldwide trend, that could change, pop culture forever. But the thing is, you just don't know until you've done it. That's why I always encourage new talent. Who they come up to, and they come up with some of the craziest, wildest, funkiest idea, and I always tell them that sounds great. Do it. Okay. Just
Ben, we got to get you back out here to Colorado.
I love Colorado. I used to go there every
year,
to Estes Park, and we would just hang out there and do fishing and, watch all the wildlife. But since my parents' in-laws passed away, we haven't gone there as often as we'd like, but we love going to Colorado. It's a great place. Love the weather out there. Though sometimes I get since you're at such a high altitude, I sometimes get altitude sickness.
Hey, they got oxygen in a can now, so that's on a Walmart aisle shelf there. It's
oxygen in a can. What are you, the Lorax or something? All of a sudden.
Oh, so we had Steve Carnatus. He was the second Red Ranger out for a show, signing at the comic book shop I helped do some production stuff for, and he's like, man, I don't know what. And he's out here quite a bit. He is out here quite a bit for different events, and he's like, this is the first time he's ever had it, but we had to go to the store and get him the oxygen in the can. It's like $15 for oxygen in a can.
$15 for oxygen? Holy crapola!
Back in the day, I used to go to college in Arkansas, and it's Siloam Springs. It's super humid, and then I'd come home up either to Denver or Scotts Bluff because I lived in both places. And whenever I would go from one climate zone to the other, I'd just get a bloody noses. Because
I get that.
When I go down to Arkansas, it's so much extra air, and so then my system would just explode. Oh. And then when I come up here, it's so dry that my.
Are you sure? Are you sure you're not the Fury for some reason? Your nose.
It's just for like 2 weeks, and then you acclimate to it again, and it's fine.
Well, Dan, he drives to most of the conventions he goes to. So he gets that slow acclimation to where he's going. So when he goes from California to Denver in a week, when he's doing these signing tours we're signing him up for, or to Nebraska, it's just he gets used to it, and then he's like, "What's sleep? I don't need sleep."
What is this sleep you speak of?
Then you just
hours.
Comics in the
sleep is for
TV.
What?
So I even have a setup where I have regular wall outlets that I get the power from my cigarette lighter, and I can just plug my laptop into that.
You shouldn't smoke that. That stuff will kill you.
What?
Do you smoke?
No. I plug the electricity into the smoke outlet.
Oh, yeah, cars don't even come with those things anymore, right? They come with the outlets, but they don't come with the cigarette lighter anymore. That's an extra expense.
You've got to buy them.
What if you want to set something on fire?
Well, I don't know about that. You got to stick some paper in there, I guess.
Oh, yeah. When you're stuck in the snow somewhere, you're going to wish you had that lighter.
That's probably true. But hey, Kenneth, do you have the first appearance of Power Rangers in comics?
Do I? Well,
no, I'm not saying Kenneth.
Not yet. There is one at the shop that I'm most likely going to get for Anthony for Christmas.
What title is it?
Huh?
What's the title of it?
It's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
That's not the first appearance, right?
Well, that's a point of debate.
Point of debate.
I guess that we did a magazine, Anarchic Press did a magazine back in the early '90s just when Power Rangers were coming out, and it was called Sentai, and we did a special feature on the Power Rangers just as the show was coming out. And I don't know if any other publication had come out at the time. I think Disney actually did a digest promoting Power Rangers, but we did a actual feature on the Power Rangers at that time, just as the show was coming out. Because I'm a huge Sentai fan, and I at Ninja High School I introduced a Zetra Man just because I wanted to do a Sentai thing in comics. And and when Power Rangers came out, I said, "Holy crap! They're doing Sentai in the United States now." Because I had grown up with Sentai, and when I was overseas, and I fell in love with that crap because it was just so. And I didn't speak a word of the language, but boy, could I understand the body language because it was definitely meant for boys. I mean, it was just over the top, high action, and it was just like
Kamen Rider now.
It was amazing stuff. I mean, when you're like 12 years old, it's like manna from heaven, So
Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing like it in the United States. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, granted that in Japan there wasn't too many safety protocols, I'm sure, but I mean, there was explosions and people jumping off cliffs. Martial arts. I mean, holy crap, there was nothing like that in the United States. And I said, I got to bring this, to the United States, And then when they did, I was like, oh my God, they finally did it, And now it's a huge
That
phenomenon.
book, Ben, I gotta find it.
Yeah.
Sentai number two.
I actually knew about that.
You should be able to find one on eBay, I think, pretty easily.
What's the title of it?
Sentai.
Just Sentai.
Yes.
Not hentai. Not hentai.
That's we
Okay.
actually did a book called Hentai.
Oh, I know you did.
Yes, we did. No, actually, it wasn't called Hentai. It was called H-bomb. We didn't actually call it Hentai. It was like we just called it H-bomb because I don't think anybody would understand Hentai. What the hell's a
That's true.
hentai?
Yeah.
Now
I actually knew
everybody
that.
knows.
I actually that story Brian Ball told me.
What's that?
I said I knew that story that Ben just told because Brian Ball from Rags told me. Because
Yeah, Brian's a great guy. I love him.
He's a huge Antarctic Press fan. We were talking about it off air one time, and he's just like, so he starts laying down the whole thing, and he's just like, did you know about the Sentai book? And I'm like, no, calm down.
Not a lot of people know.
Well, the beauty of everything is that
There it
if
is.
you like something, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one.
And this is the second issue, is the first
Second
appearance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to find this, Ben. And
We
we're
did
gonna get you out
episode
here.
down. Yeah, I would love to go to Colorado again. I think it would be fantastic. I had a great time. Every time I go there, I have a great time. So it's like, it's a lot of fun. You got a beautiful landscape out there for sure. When I go see when I approach the mountains, I say, holy fuck, it's like, oh, those are beautiful,
Yeah.
and it's just something about mountains that just makes you feel kind of small, but it just,
Yeah,
and you
Death of the
always
Green
kinda-
Ranger in here. Wow.
Huh? Green
Death of the
Ranger?
Green Ranger. It says. I'm reading it. Sorry.
Oh.
I'm excited about this. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
You didn't know about that? Well, I guess
did not know about that.
It'd be cool to get that, not just signed by Ben, but signed by the actors too.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I mean, the thing is that there's people say, oh, there are no more ideas. Oh, there's tons of ideas. You just gotta, make it your own. You see, that's the thing. I mean, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. At least you tried.
Not going to be the end of the world.
Exactly. It's not gonna be the end of the world. You move on to your next big thing. You move on to. I mean, when I started doing comics, Ninja High School wasn't my first comic. I did other comics too. And it took a while. And I was very much influenced by anime and manga, and which I brought overseas. And at that time, anime and manga was still an unknown quantity. Nobody ever heard of anime or manga. Well, anime was just starting out, and manga was an unknown quantity. And I decided, I'm going to bring manga, my love of manga to comics, and then in 20 years later, Marvel contacted me and said, we want to do manga too, but Marvel and manga were not exactly a good fit. So, it was a good attempt.
Some of the titles that you didn't do were just kind of like, what is this? Yeah, there was a couple, I forget, there was one, maybe not the X-Men one, I don't remember. Maybe the Ghost Rider one. I was just like, what? The Ghost Rider one, I was like, this isn't manga anyway. I was like, this is just
the story behind that is really quite interesting because manga was just starting to become popular, and then Marvel knew it, and I decided, I'm going to make a pitch. It was a cold pitch. I didn't think they weren't asking for anything, they weren't doing anything. This is during the Quesada run, his editorial run, and I said, I'm just going to take a chance. So I drew up a whole bunch of concept art, sent it in, not thinking I would ever hear back from them. And then lo and behold, I got an email from Joe Quesada. Says, yeah, let's do it. And I was totally shocked. I was like, holy crap, they actually said yes. Of course, they approached it differently the way I had originally wanted to do it, but hell, they did it. I mean, it just goes to show you, if you don't take a chance, you're just never going to know. I mean, don't be afraid of rejection. See, that's the thing. It's better to have tried. What was I saying? It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. The thing is that you got to try it. You got to take chances. You got to just say, what? I'm just going to go ahead and go for it. I may get rejected, but I'm going to keep trying. I'm just going to keep trying and keep trying. Just climb that mountain, get to the top. And that's really, to me, the ingredients for ultimate success. Never give up on yourself, because the minute you give up on yourself, then what's the point of continuing on? It's just like, you have to believe in yourself. I mean, how long have you been working on My Gal the Zombie? For quite some time. I mean, at least until what?
7 years now.
7 years. That's a long time. And in that time, you've developed a following for it. You've got story ideas for it. You've got concepts for it. I mean, like I said, Warrior Nun was created in 1992. I mean, no, 94. Okay, 94. Here it is, 2020, and it's finally got a Netflix show. I mean, that's a period of almost 20 years, and a long time, So it may take a while for you for it to come. It may happen tomorrow. You don't know. The thing is, you make it happen. Okay, that's the only way it's going to happen, is you make it happen. Okay.
Dan, somebody's gonna be watching this. Some higher up is gonna be watching this stream right here. Somewhere along the line, we're like, we heard about this, My Gal. We need to talk to you. Right?
Hell yeah!
As soon as you, like, not even out of the hospital yet. That's the thing. The only time he's actually stopped working on stuff is when he was in the coma. he's still. Well, they can't say what, but he is still working on a project right now.
Well, if I were a Hollywood exec and I came to you, Dan, and I said, "All right, sell me your idea of My Gal Design. What is it? What is your concept? What makes your idea so different than everybody else's?"
Zombie Girl still wants to stay with her community of friends and go through the loves and losses they're related to that, or therein.
Well, aren't zombies sort of passe? They're old hat. I mean, maybe if we change zombies into, let's make her a vampire. How about that? That wouldn't be. Vampires are way cooler, right? I mean, see, this is how things go typically. It's just like
vampires are cool, but this is. If you like The Walking Dead,
make her a vampire zombie. There you go. Yeah, Jennifer Aniston. I could totally see that.
Jennifer Aniston. That could be. Yeah. You know what? I don't know. Yeah, I know, right? I was like, yeah, she
Well,
could.
that
might
dates
work
me,
well like
that's
that.
for sure.
What's that?
That sure
Dan, we
dates
need the
me.
lady that did the 2017 Power Ranger, Pink Power Ranger actress, and now she just did Jasmine in the Will Smith Aladdin. That
Yeah,
she could be a good my gal.
I don't remember what she looks like, but get the right makeup.
Well,
You know, you can make anybody
Maybe
green.
green.
if you were to
Yeah,
do it
I'd still want to
yourself,
have Justine involved though.
if
Even
you were
if
to do it yourself, I would probably use local talent, because they're easier
Yeah.
to work with. But you can get some name. There's always some actor or actress who still want to act, and you can still probably. I mean, I had a friend of mine who knew what that guy who used to play in Good Times, uh, uh, who used to say Dynamite. What was that actor's name?
Jay
Oh,
Walker.
Yeah, J.J. Walker. He once told me that he got a quote from him, and he said, "If there's money involved, I'm interested."
yeah.
So,
He was
I
at
don't.
Reno Comic Con that I was at. He did like the opening ceremonies or something.
Yeah,
So
I mean, there's a ton of actors and actresses out there, who were famous in the day who are not working anymore.
yeah,
Okay, or who like to keep working, but they're just not hot.
They even
Yeah.
just
But-
started doing the circuit, and now that got smashed in their face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the thing is, they're people too. I mean, the thing about it is that it doesn't. You can contact their agent if there's a local guy who lives in Colorado. I mean, there's probably plenty of actors and actresses who live in Colorado. I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can probably go through an agency, and hire somebody there. It says, we'll pay. Will you act in our film? And the worst they can say is no. Okay, but if they
Yeah.
say yes, then you got them, and you can use them in their marquee. Yeah, totally. I want Tony Danza in my series. Yeah, totally, man.
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness.
I mean,
That'd be funny.
they're just people too. You see, that's the thing. You can, and
Yeah.
I always say the worst that can happen is they say no. Okay, and then you just
Yeah.
move on. If you don't ask, though, you won't know. And that's the thing. You got to take that chance and not be intimidated by rejection. The biggest stumbling block most people face is the fear of rejection. Okay, and I don't look at it that way. My thing is that if I'm rejected, then I just move on to the next thing. But at least I tried. And the thing is that if you don't try, you just don't know. You've got to at least, if you have a dream, you should follow that dream. And right now, the thing is that you have more opportunities now than ever before to get that dream to see realized. And like I said, my hope is that I'm hoping to start, a production company myself where we can actually take interesting ideas and IPs and, sort of do like a Roger Corman type style of filmmaking,
Yeah.
where like, oh yeah, let's just take this idea and do it as efficiently. I didn't say cheaply. I just say as efficiently as possible to get it done. Squeeze every penny that we can and make it look like we spent $1 million when we only spent $100. I mean,
Cheap is
Oh, yeah.
cheap is a trigger word. You don't want to hear someone say cheap. Like, if that's a cheap
low
product,
budget.
they're not,
That's the term we use. Low budget. It's like
Yeah.
I mean, James Cameron. He started off working for James Cameron. I mean, Roger Corman. And you would use old discarded, McDonald's styrofoam boxes for the backdrops and for sets. I mean, he was
Sure.
that efficient. Okay, and he
Yeah.
made it look good. Okay, that's the
And he's
thing.
got a lot of genius to him.
Well, the thing about it is when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And that's what he did. James Cameron would say, well, this is your budget, James. You can only do so much. It's oh, shit. There's a whole bunch of discarded McDonald's styrofoam boxes out there. Maybe I could do something with that.
Yeah.
special effects artists tell me that he was making a foam bodysuit, a big foam bodysuit for one of the projects he was working on, and he was in season 9 and season 13 of Face Off, but he got a lot of the foam from a discarded couch, right? So he didn't pay anything for that foam. He just took off the fabric.
Well, actually, Doug, it's actually funny. Talking about that too. Doug, who was on earlier, years and years ago, he got the tail ends of a bunch of film that Spielberg had for different projects, the back ends, and he spliced them together and made a little Mothman movie with them back in the 90s. And the best boy on that production was Dan Harmon.
Yeah, I mean, a good example is like a lot of people like I don't know if you know anything about Ed Wood, okay? But,
yeah.
He would just take old footage, okay, and splice it together. You know, like if you needed a scene of the army attacking something, he would just take some old footage and just splice it into his movie. I mean, how efficient is that? You know, so it just goes to show you that. And right now, like I said, I see stuff on YouTube done by just normal, who's taken software and done incredible special effects. I mean, it's just like, holy crap! I mean, are these people working in Hollywood? I mean, or not? You know, I did in my spare time, on a Commodore 64. So it's like, it's just amazing what people, how much talent there is out there. I'm shocked, to be honest, and it's just like so much talent. And there's got to be a way for people to get an outlet for that, kind of talent. I mean, can you imagine how good Star Trek and Star Wars and Doctor Who, all these others, if people with passion, really worked on those shows, how good they would be, how awesome they would be. But since, a lot of these studios don't have they don't care about the IP, they only care about their message, there's nothing to stop somebody from saying, you know what, I'm going to do my own version of Doctor Who. Okay, I'm just going to do my own version. It's going to be different. It's going to be an homage to the classic, but I'm going to do a twist, that'll make it my own. I'm going to do my own version of Star Trek, and look at Seth MacFarlane. He did his own version of Star Trek. It's called The Orville, and it's more Star Trek than Star Trek.
That's what I've heard.
Heard.
It's a good show. I need to continue watching it. But gentlemen, you have to step off.
Okay.
I would have stepped off earlier, but my daughter was actually being good, so I was able to stay on.
Still up?
Family first.
No, she's asleep. She's asleep.
Oh, okay.
Well, Dan.
But Dan, I'm gonna visit you this coming week, probably next Wednesday. Yeah, I want to.
Yeah, you guys are awesome, Dan. I hope I know your crowd GoFund will do well, and I'm rooting for you guys. So you get better.
I appreciate it so much.
I will. We'll have to talk again real soon. Okay, guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for coming, Ben. I really appreciate it. I'm going to use this to wrap up the show because we're half an hour over on normal, which is fine because it's great stuff.
I kept blabbering.
No. Oh my goodness!
You gave a lot of wisdom, a lot of pearls of wisdom. Truly.
Absolutely.
Well, you guys are awesome. Keep up the fight. And I'm praying for you, man. I hope you have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year.
All right. Hey,
Thank
you too.
Very much.
Have a great one.
All right. Ciao.
So,
all right.
For everybody.
Bye, Matthew.
For everybody out there, in the things, the link for the GoFundMe is going to be, I'm going to drop in the chat again here. There we go. Don't forget to go ahead and give Dan a little love, help out with that. I'm going to be keeping to share that. And everything. Dan, so much for coming on, man. Hopefully this has been fun.
Yeah, this has been amazing. Thanks so much for organizing so much.
Oh, of course.
I was shocked to see Ben and Doug back on. So that's amazing.
Yep. Yeah, I had never met Ben before, but I decided to see if he'd be willing to come on. So I'm really glad he was able to. So, because I know how much you guys go way back, and it means a lot to you. So, I wanted to
back a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
So before we go, oh hey, Fly Fox Bro, how's it going? from my pal Dan. Different Dan.
What's that? Another Dan?
Oh, different Dan. Yeah,
I'll take it. I'll take it.
that's this guy. Yeah. But anyway, what we're gonna next week on the show, we're gonna be having a double feature. We're gonna have the creative teams for Common America and for Vestry coming on. And that'd be Mark Pellegrini and Tim Lim and my and Shabby. I can't remember their real names. I just remember their YouTube names.
From what book did you say?
Vestry is one of them. It's like a sword and sorcery
Is that a new
fantasy
thing?
book. Yep, it's pretty new.
Cool.
Pretty new. They're getting ready to crowdfund their second issue. So
I was reading
then-
Black Hops recently by
yes,
Pellegrini and Lim, but I don't know those guys. I think I've had a little bit of contact online with like some messages here or there maybe. But yeah, they do good stuff.
oh yeah, Black Hops is the best. It's the best GI Joe book I've read in years.
When I got the joke about USAGI being Usagi, I was like,
Oh my goodness.
I was like, that's amazing.
So and I didn't get it. I was talking about the book. I had gotten it. I was going on and telling my wife how great it was. This book called Black Hops and the character USAGI. And she says, "Why do you keep spelling Usagi?" And I'm like, "Oh my God."
That's funny. But yeah. Because first I was like, that's kind of an odd name. And I was like, oh, he's a rabbit.
It's
was
a
like,
rabbit
it's
joke.
staring at Usagi. So,
Yep,
or
yep.
yeah. So when I saw that,
Yep.
I was like, that's genius. Genius.
Yeah, well, they're going to be on next week. So, but I'm going to take off. Dan, best of luck to you. Praying for you. I'll be going to keep sharing that GoFundMe around. And keep watching the show, Daily Dan Show, there on Facebook.
Probably be going live soon.
Yeah, all of the links are going to be in the description when I add them. But for now, you'll just have to wait. Okay, guys, I'm going to cut out. Happy Thursday, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Next week.
Bye.
Catch them.